and every story can change the world. Together we are Global Speakers Talk.
Hello, beautiful souls and global change makers. A very warm welcome to each one of you joining us from all across the world. My name is Pao, and I will once again be your host for today. It is absolutely my honor to open today's session of the third annual International Live Conference hosted by none other than Global Speakers Talk. So, Global Speakers Talk, founded in 2021 by Ancho Tiwari, began as a simple dream a dream to create a safe, powerful, heart led space for voices that were unheard and unseen. And today, the dream has grown into a global family where speakers, leaders, coaches, and visionaries come together not only to speak, but also to uplift and inspire and empower each other. This community is truly special because it holds a beautiful blend of voices from professional keynote speakers, emerging new speakers, experienced leaders, and any other passionate individual sharing their life stories. Here at Global Speakers Talk, every voice matters and every journey is definitely honored. We celebrate both seasoned professionals and those taking their very first step because this is a stage that believes in giving equal opportunity, equal respect, and equal visibility. We are so grateful for all the souls who have supported and shaped this community from the early days of Global Speakers Talk until today. Each one of you carries a story of dedication, love, and absolute unwavering support. And if you feel connected to this mission and want to get involved, simply drop a message in the chat because Global Speakers Talk stands strong because you, every single one of you, stand along with us. This community grows because people like you choose to grow with us. In today's session, we talk about affirmations. Some positive words. Simply put, nice words, right? Nice words we tell ourselves, nice words we want to remind ourselves, but affirmations are also energy. They are intentions. They are the seeds we plant in our subconscious to shape who we become. Every speaker you will hear today carries a message that aligns with this absolute powerful truth. When we speak with purpose, we shape our reality. When we affirm who we choose to be, we step into our highest expression. So as we begin, everyone in the chat, of course our speakers on the backstage right now, I invite you all to take a breath. Take a breath and receive this affirmation for today. I am open. I am receptive. I am ready to rise. Hold that energy as we welcome our incredible speakers, starting with our very first one. Our first speaker for today is a stress and burnout recovery and prevention expert. He helps stressed out and high strung entrepreneurs and business owners overcome overwhelm and achieve stress free success. He applies real time applicable solutions and mindset strategies to deprogram old habits and patterns, creating a new foundation free from past negative subconscious conditioning that sabotages health, relationships, and success. Everyone, let's give our love and attention to Robert Tettero.
Hello there,
Hi,
pal.
Robert. How are you doing
Hello.
today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. And welcome to the beautiful audience worldwide. I'm Robert Tettero, and I'm going to give you a quick, uh, very quick, concise, practical application as to how to use affirmations. Now, look, this is a huge topic. I give a 3-day, intensive just on this topic. So I'm going to keep it short and concise, and I'm sure that all the other wonderful speakers will be able to complement this topic in their own specific way. So basically, To understand the power of affirmations, we have to first of all understand that thought is creative. That means that I create my reality on the basis of my thoughts. Now, that's wonderful if you think about that. If I can create my reality on the basis of the thoughts that I am thinking, then I should be manifesting everything in the world that I want, right? So the power of affirmation is very much connected to manifestation. And when I was making a promo video on this topic, I was out in nature saying, I'm going to show you why for many people, the power of affirmations just don't work. Interesting. So if I'm not manifesting the things that I want, what's going on here? There must be a conflict. Well, first and foremost, I want everybody to know that we are all powerful manifestors and we all manifest exactly what we want. Okay, then somebody says to me, well, I didn't ask for this. You didn't ask for it, but I didn't give it to you. And God certainly didn't send it to you. So what part of you attracted this though? Because you are equally manifesting the negative experiences as well. So that's an interesting thing to ponder on. So these negative experiences are also of your own doing. That doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means that we have to start paying attention to the subconscious thoughts that we are harboring. So that's where the conflict arises. The subconscious conditioning is 20 times stronger than our conscious mind. And when it comes to brain capacity, compare that with the brain, our subconscious conditioning is 95% stronger than our conscious mind. So it doesn't matter what you're saying to yourself here, the subconscious program is telling you what the outcome is going to be. So you could be looking for the wonderful manifestation in your life of a beautiful job or a beautiful partner. And why isn't it happening? Because your subconscious conditioning is still remembering the moment when your parents separated and the child made a very decisive decision that relationships never lasted. So that's what's going to be taking the upper hand. So in this sense, affirmations can help you start reprogramming the subconscious mind. But how does it work? Well, we manifest reality into being by repetitive thoughts. So if I keep repeating an affirmation over and over and over again, the subconscious mind will start taking that over because whatever I focus on expands. And slowly but surely, because my neuroplasticity, my brain is also creating a new connections in my neural net, where now love is not connected to abandonment, but with connection and intimacy. However, if I'm going to start affirming, for instance, I, Robert, am good enough, using a very simple example, and my response to that is, well, of course I'm good enough. Well, wait a minute. If I'm trying to affirm something that deep down inside I do not believe, then it's just like saying Coca-Cola, 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 Coca-Cola in repetition, and nothing will change either. So what are the affirmations really there for? The affirmations are actually there to bring up the unconscious conditioning that is holding me back of allowing this new thought to enter. So if you are using affirmations, write down the affirmation. I, Robert, love and accept myself exactly the way I am right now. Instead of going, of course, I go, yeah, who are you trying to kid? Right. What a nonsense this is. Nobody believes that. Why should you? Oh, your father has been telling you that you're not good enough. Why would you still believe that you are? Who are you trying to convince? So every single time you repeat the sentence, I, Robert, love and accept myself exactly where I am right now, and bring up the negative response. Because if you don't look at that side where you are not allowing this new thought in, then the world, which is a mirror reflection of your innermost, the world will start reflecting your disbelief. And everything starts falling apart. Things start going wrong. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. You see the partners, two couples, or a couple at a bus stop fighting with each other. Your boss starts screaming at you. It just starts amplifying this part of you that you're repressing. So when you're using affirmations, remember, use them in order to bring up all the negative things that are in contradiction with the affirmation that you are trying to accept in your life. So that's the first step. Now, when it comes to manifestation, the best thing to do is using affirmations. That's one thing. But again, if you don't believe what you are trying to affirm, I want to lose so and so much weight within so much time. And if you don't believe it, it's not going to work either. So there are three crucial things when it comes to the art of manifestation. One, when you affirm something, there cannot be any static, which means you're sending this message into the unified field where infinite possibility is out there for you to reach and bring into fruition and manifestation. You need to be 100% convinced without any bit of doubt, no static whatsoever, in saying what it is you want. Then you need to bring in the emotion. Imagine being in that car that you want to drive. Imagine the money that you have on your bank. Imagine the beautiful relationship that you really want. So you're bringing the intensity of the emotion, and emotion is nothing other than motion, energy in motion, because it's all about energy. We want to bring ourselves into the right frequency within which manifestation is possible. So if I say I want to earn 100K this year, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to happen. Well, guess what? That negative thought is going to bring me into a lower vibrational state. So nothing is going to be happening then. A lot of people are telling me, yes, but I've already been asking for it so long. Well, that's just the whole point. Every time you constantly ask for the same thing, you're actually implying that the first time you asked for it was not enough. So you have to come from a place of knowing, trusting, bring in the energy, and then seeing the outcome in your mind. And that's the power of the mind and the power of affirmations. By repetition and the vision that you have, imagining it into being, you are in a state of becoming. So that's it for today. It's short, powerful, and very practical. The thing is, if you can't bring yourself to quiet the mind, then go out in nature. Many people, complain that they can't really meditate. Then I would say go into nature, sit down, breathe, connect there, because when you connect with nature, you're connecting with the quantum field, the unified field, and freeing yourself of the mind. No mind, no body. Nobody. I become a nobody, and then I become receptive to the beauty that is out there waiting for us. So thank you very much. And I hope to be talking to you soon. Reach out if you want to know more. I'm always available.
Thank you so much, Robert, for that wonderful reminder. And I think it's such a timely start of the session, to remind us that we should believe. Like what you said, if we just say things out there, it's just the same as like saying Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola over again. It's just like
Right.
empty words, empty words that
Correct.
don't mean anything. So thank you for that wonderful reminder that other than having all of these wonderful things that we want, right? We want for ourselves, things that we really, we want to craft our lives in the way that we envision, right? And we can say all of these things. I want this to happen. I want that to happen. I want to reach this. This is my goal for the year. But if we stop at that and we have all of these like limiting beliefs that, yeah, that seems impossible. It's like I think of it as like a stain, in a white cloth where it kind of like just seeps out and it kind of like just taints the whole thing. So I think I do have one quick question though. What is the best way to believe? Like, I understand that human nature is like doubting, it's part of us being humans to be like, can I really do this? Right? Can this really can this really happen to me? What
Right.
do you think is like the first step to counter those doubts?
Remember to connect with your desire. What is it that you
Ooh.
desire? Whether or not the world, the universe, God, the people around me are going to meet me in the thing that I want is of absolutely no consequence. It's not important at all. The only thing I need to do is stay connected to the thing that I want. My desire
Mhm.
stands true, holds fast, and will not change. When I think about driving the new car, well, whether I have it or not, it makes me happy,
Right.
right? So don't focus on what you don't have, because again, whatever you focus on expands. Just focus on the thing that would make you happy, whether you have it or not. So be grateful. Be grateful for the things you have, because being grateful for the little things will build upon your trust that the bigger things are there as well. And the thing I always say is, don't expect the big things if you don't even know how to ask for the small things.
That is fair. That is fair. And I like that. Connect with your desire and just simply staying true to these emotions. It makes you happy. Hold on to that happiness. Hold on that to that little light, until it becomes like a big light. So once again, Robert,
Right.
thank you so much. That
Thank
is that
you.
is a
Thank
wonderful
you.
reminder. Have a good one, Robert. We appreciate your
Thank you
time.
very much. Bye.
So that was I love how we started with that reminder, right? So we have all of these wonderful speakers as well coming in on our virtual stage, but also just to remind us that we should believe and really hold on to this belief, hold on to these desires. And yeah, I think that it's such a good way to start this session for today. So thank you so much again, Robert, for that wonderful talk that you had just now. So, next up on our virtual stage is a motivational speaker, a best selling author, and the creator of the C.A.N.D.Y method, who also helps people shift from, I like this, reactors to creators by teaching mindset, self talk, and purpose driven action. After overcoming a 3-year depression and rebuilding her life in just 8 months, she now empowers others to quiet their inner critic. Oh, that's quite timely for like this human nature of us when we doubt, when we think small, right? Amplify their self-belief and take action to create a clear, confident path forwards. Let's all once again give our love and attention to Lee Piper Smith.
Thank you,
Hello,
Pal.
Lee.
Wonderful
How
to
are
be here
you?
with you. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
I'm excited to hear about your talk, so please feel free to take it away.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Yes, I am Lee Smith, the creator of Upcycle Coaching, and I love the power of affirmations. And for me, it takes me back to when I was a little girl and I used to play with a mirror. And I would stare and stare and stare at myself until I couldn't see my face anymore. And I started thinking of the important people in my life. So, as a little girl, the first two people who were the most important to me were my mom and my dad. So, I would stare and I would stare and I would stare at the mirror until all I could see was my mom. And I would hear my mom's voice and all the things that she would say to me. And my mom was not the most positive inputter at the time. She did a lot of comparison. When are you going to be good enough? And when I know that you can do so much more and you should know better. So I would hear voices like that from my mom in my head at that time. And I would think, well, how does that make me feel? And honestly, I didn't like the way that it felt. And I thought, okay, and I would shake it off. And I thought, well, what happens if I think about my dad? And I would stare and stare and stare at the mirror again, and until all I could see in the mirror was my dad's face. And then I would hear my dad's voice And I would think the things that he would tell me, oh, you're so capable, you're so smart, you can do anything. He was definitely the more positive side of things, right? And this is what I grew up with. And I thought, well, how do I feel about that? And I would smile and I would think, oh, yes, that feels really good. And then I would shake it off and look at myself. And I thought, well, if I heard my mom's voice when I would look and see my mom, and if I hear my dad's voice when I look and see my dad, well, now that I'm looking at me, what voice do I hear? And what does that voice say? And that became the foundation and the awareness of my own self talk. And today I invite you to think about, what do you say to yourself? What is the voice that's happening inside of your head? And maybe it was like my mom, where I call it the inner critic that says, you're not good enough, you're not ready. Who do you think you are? And how does that make you feel? And can we turn that around into a powerful, positive self talk voice that can say, I can do this. I am capable. I am lovable. And put that into affirmations. And what you're going to hear from me today, I want to put out a disclaimer, probably isn't anything new. I may even say some things that are similar to what we just heard from Robert about the self-talk. And I just want to give you a little bit of a different perspective. And so that even though you're hearing something that you have heard before, maybe you'll hear it in a different way. And then I want to leave you with a challenge to not only let these words pass through to you visually and audibly through one ear and out the other, but take these words to heart and then take something that you learned today and put that into action. And that's where the real change happens. And that takes me to my favorite quote by the wonderful Wayne Dyer. And he says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So can we do that with affirmations and empower that? And I want to take a visual right now to share with you of how I am on a mission. You heard in my introduction that, yes, I like to transform the reactor into creator. And we do this through the power of our words. And a reactor, it's creating that awareness and taking a look at yourself. The reactor is the person who tends to think, life is happening to me. Why is this happening again? The reactor is the person who, when the alarm goes off in the morning, if you're still living by an alarm clock, instead of turning the alarm clock and getting up out of bed or taking a moment before really starting your day, they're immediately hitting the snooze button. Or maybe they turn the alarm off and like, oh, it's another day. I got to do this. I have to do that. And the reactor is going through life, going through the motions, and they may have ideas, they may have goals, they may have dreams, and they're busy pursuing it, busy, busy, busy. But then life is happening all the time, right? So it may be notifications, it may be an email, it may be somebody physically coming into your space, it may be the cat crawling across the keyboard, and then what is coming up? And so it feels like you're busy chasing the things, and you're like the letter C in reactor, and you feel overwhelmed and stuck in the middle of all of the things. And so you may be saying things to yourself like, I am stressed. I have to do this. I'm bad at this. I don't have time. I am so busy. And what if I could help you today to take a breath? Let's just do that right now. Let's Because even when we're reacting to so many things, do we even know that we're breathing? How are we breathing? And I want to take a moment to help you take a breath. Take yourself out from the middle of all of those things. And like this letter C in reactor, see yourself for the amazingness and the brilliance that you are. See yourself for what I call the 3 Gs. These are the pillars of my G3 mastermind that I run in my online community. It's your genius, your gifts, your greatness. Instead of seeing everything else around you, see yourself for who you really are. And when you can do that and you can put yourself first and see what really matters, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire? What is it that you want to experience in your life? How do you want to feel at the end of today when you're going to bed? And when you do that, you then see what matters most. You see what is most important. That becomes your priority. That allows you to see the boundaries that you want to create for yourself so that you know what to say yes to and what to say no to. And now, instead of being a reactor to life, you are a creator of the day, the week, the year, the life that you truly desire. And you're doing it on your own terms. And when those disruptions and interruptions and notifications, all the things come and they happen in your life, you have that breathing moment of, I am not going to react to this. I'm going to choose my response, thereby creating the very next moment that I want. And this is where affirmations come into such powerful play. And like Robert was sharing, it doesn't help if we say something like Coca-Cola, 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 right? It's just words. And so to say positive words like, I am great, I am amazing, I am brilliant, I am capable, the words themselves is not powerful enough. Why is that? Because when we say the words, a lot of times it's coming within a context of who we were. And our brain will question that. Well, maybe you're trying to empower yourself into something you haven't done before. Many entrepreneurs that I work with, they haven't yet broken the 6-figure mark, and that's a milestone that they're working towards. But because they haven't made 6 figures before, their brain is going, but you haven't done that before, so who do you think you are to make 6 figures now? And so to say that I am a 6-figure earner, it doesn't sit right, right? It's positive words. I am a 6-figure earner. And then in your heart, you're doing your earnest to believe that. And yet the safety part of your brain is saying, but you've never done that before because it's judging it from the past. How do we change that if we want to fully embody the affirmation, I am a 6-figure earner? This is where I challenge you to think about your future successful self. The person who has already accomplished the 6-figure earning. If you think about Olympic athletes, we have the Winter Olympics coming up, right? And we have the best of the best going for the bronze and the silver and the gold medals to take that podium in the ownership of, I am the best at what I do. And they do all of this training. And one of the trainings that they must go through in order to succeed is visualize, right? They visualize over and over, doing the exact moments, the breathing, the processing, the physical mechanics of all the things, so that they are showing up as their best selves. And the brain cannot tell the difference between that visualization, when they get so specific, so clear, and the actual doing it. Well, it's not just the athletes who have that power. My friends, you have that power as well. Just like in reacting or creating, when an incident and experience happens in our lives, in that moment, we have the power of choice to decide, what am I going to make this mean in my life? Am I going to make this mean this is frustrating, this is overwhelming, this is angering, or this is making me shrink in my confidence, or am I going to choose to say, oh, this is something that I can learn from. This is something that can make me aware. So now I know what I need to do next and become my best self, or I can respond with calm. I can respond with peace. I can respond with curiosity. And when we move into our future successful self with the I am a six-figure earner, we want to say that from a space of having already done it. So visualizing that I am a six-figure earner. And when I am already doing that, what are the feelings that I feel? I feel amazing. I feel accomplished. I do feel brilliant. And I feel grateful because I didn't do this through my own power. I did this through the people who said yes to me. I did this through the people who are part of my team in helping me accomplish this. And when I am there doing that six-figure earning, how am I waking up in the morning? How am I moving through my day? How am I speaking to others? What are my relationships like? And when I'm driving on the road, what does that feel like? When I'm eating my meals, what does that feel like? When I'm standing in the shower, what does that feel like? And when I'm going to bed after having done all of the things, what does that feel like? And really embodying having already accomplished that. And then bringing those feelings into the now. And when we embody that feeling from that future successful self, saying, I already did it. I already did it. Now the brain can't go back and say, well, you haven't done it yet. No, you are showing that it is already done. That leaves no room for doubt. And that's where the power of the affirmation comes into full play. Yes, it is one thing to say the positive words, and it may have some positive impact, but to take on the full power of the affirmation, we want to look at our future successful self and, like the Olympic athlete, see ourselves having already done it. And then take the feelings from that experience and bring that feeling into the words of saying, I am. And so we move into that belief. And as we're moving through our day, we can challenge ourselves. Am I reacting to this, or am I going to be a creator of the best moment of that? And as I move into the creator of who I am, what's the affirmation that I need right now? So here's an exercise that I invite you to do when you get a moment. Take a piece of paper and in the middle, draw a circle and give yourself the space to breathe and then to close your eyes and be in that future successful self, having accomplished all the things that you want to accomplish, having the things, the relationship in your life, the health and energy that you desire, all of those things are in place. This is you in that moment, in that future moment. All the things are done. You've done it all. And then think about, how would you describe that person, that you in that time? And then as you're hearing the I am confident, I am accomplished, I am a leader, I am a loving wife, I am a thought leader, I am a brilliant speaker, and whatever those words are, when those come to you outside of the circle, I want you to write everything down that you possibly can from that future self, from that future self, and be there and feel that. And then after you have, that expressed as much as you possibly can, then come back to the moment, to the here and now, and look at everything that you've written. And in the center circle at the top, write, I am. I am are the two most powerful words in the world, because whatever follows it is what you become, is who you become. So now let's look at the words outside of the circle. Which 3 words or phrases resonate the most with you? And rewrite that in the middle of the circle. And let that become the affirmations that you use. You already believe it now, because you're inviting that future self who's already done it. And you're borrowing that belief from him or her into the now. And as you repeat that in your morning, in your afternoon, in your evening before you go to bed, and you do that again and again and again. And what you're doing is you're closing the gap between the now and your future self. And this is where you truly move from the reactor of the past, where the doubt and all of that happens, into the power of now, borrowing from the belief of your future successful self. And this is truly how you create the transformation from reactor to creator. And friends, when you change the way you look at things, especially yourself, the things you look at, especially you, change. Own that power today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lee, for that wonderful, wonderful reminder as well. I like that the order, like we didn't really like talk about, what each speaker would say. We just have this general topic, but somehow it all at this point kind of like it all connects, right? And I particularly like the idea of somehow, we can't stop the world from spinning, right? Like everything around us is going to happen, regardless of what we do, regardless of what we say, regardless of how we see it. It's going to happen as it happens, how it happens. So it really is up to us to kind of like process that. I do have a question as well about this whole topic that you shared, which I think is coming from once again, it's like something along the lines of what I also asked Robert, coming from us being humans, us being just, regular people that haven't really like mastered this kind of belief system. So I was wondering, sometimes it's kind of like our instant reaction to get all panicky, all like say for example, if we accidentally spill our coffee, suddenly we're all just, it destroys our day. We're like, oh, my outfit this is destroyed, blah blah blah. And I was listening to you earlier, and you mentioned about something along the lines of responding with peace, calm, and curiosity. So how do we kind of like have that kind of response as our instant response instead of the whole human reaction of getting all pissed off and it's my day was destroyed and stuff like that?
Yes, absolutely. That's a fantastic question, pal. And this is definitely a daily practice for me, right? And when we can, first of all, the moment our eyes are open, whether it's to the alarm clock, the alarm clock is that could be the first reaction. Like
Absolutely.
we can hit that button, turn that off, we can go, oh, another
It's
day.
not
Or,
another
or
day.
we can
Yeah.
or we can say, it's another day. Can we open that
Mhm.
up immediately with gratitude? And for me, because I know I'm on this mission to share my story and my message. I want to, plant the seed of this reactor to creator message.
Mhm.
And so when I wake up, for me personally, it's like, thank you. I have another day where I can share my story and my message. And yes, that I may have a long to-do list, but that doesn't matter because there's so much more. And so in that moment, the alarm goes off. I'm like, oh, even showing up today, honestly, it's very early in the morning for me, but it's not, it's before my usual wake up time. But you know what?
Mhm.
This is so meaningful to me. I'm not going to go, oh, it's so early. No, I'm like, yes, it's early. I can acknowledge it for what it is. I can say, yes, it's early, but you know what? I get to show up and share my story and
I
message.
like that.
So I'm excited. So yes, when the coffee happens or you're driving in traffic and something cuts you off, if you feel that moment like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Acknowledge that. Say, oh, that was
Acknowledge it.
frustrating.
Okay.
Okay. Or, oh, that was bothersome. Okay. We want to
What's
acknowledge it.
next?
Yes.
Like after
Because
that.
whatever the emotion happens, truthfully, it's a 90-second wave. And 90
Hmm.
seconds is not very long. And it's in that 90 seconds of that experience happening, and your thoughts and emotions are rumbling together. You get to choose. Are you going to fully react and let that ruin your day? Or you're going to choose to create that next response and go, oh, I didn't like,
Understood.
oh, I don't know what's going on with that driver right now. I really didn't like that, but an accident didn't happen. I'm still safe. Okay, take a breath, let it out, keep on going, right? That driver doesn't have to ruin your day. The hot coffee, like, dang it. You again, whatever comes up in that moment, then acknowledge it and just let the wave ride, because
Mhm.
the longer
Mhm.
you hold on to it, now you're creating a wiring in that neuroplasticity of your brain. You get to choose that loop. Is that going to be negative or is that going to be positive? And so if you feel that negative response, there's no shame whatsoever. I'm not expecting myself or humans at all to be like, oh, everything is great. Or like what the Lego song, everything is awesome, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
life
yeah.
does happen. Hard things do happen. Heartbreak, tragedy, trauma, those things do happen, and we can still work through that. In the immediate short things, let the wave happen. And when the bigger things happen, we still want to acknowledge those emotions, and we can still focus on the future successful self of who was the person who got through this, who was the person who can feel the peace. So when things happen and say grief happens, we have to let grief happen, and we
Mhm.
can't always predict, but when we feel that grief, we can acknowledge it. That's the first thing, being aware of it, acknowledge it, and then how do I want to show up in this moment now? Not in a way of tucking it under the rug and I'm
Right.
not gonna deal with it. No, 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 no. Being honest with yourself about it. And if it means, hey, I'm going to sit with this, that's okay because you know that you're choosing it instead of fully reacting and not really knowing what's going on. But having that presence and then getting through to the other side
Mhm.
means looking again at that future successful self and then bringing that person and that embodiment into the now, and that will help to ease the journey so that we're not sitting in it all the time, right? This is what I use to take myself out of a massive depression. I mean, it was definitely so bad that I could barely get out of bed. And once
Mhm.
I got out of bed, I moved to the corner of the couch and I was stuck on the corner of the couch. And it took months, literally months of this daily process
Mhm.
before I
Mhm.
I'm showing up in the world again, right? As
Right.
my best self. So I hope that's helpful. But
That's
yes,
definitely
we
helpful.
always have that moment to that 90 seconds very at the very least, right? Like, do I want to be an ugly human and let it ruin my day? Or like, oh, okay, that wasn't what I really wanted to happen, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day,
Right.
right? And show up as our best selves.
Thank you. Thank you, Lee. No, what I liked about what you said, it acknowledges both things, right? That it's fine. It happens. We're just human beings. It's fine. But at the same time, we can also do something about it. It's not the end of the world, right? So
Right.
it's like it's not disregarding one over the other. No, I have to be positive all the time. No, it's not something. It's not about that. So it acknowledges
Correct.
that it happens, but we can also just let it happen, and then figure out what we would like, how we would react next. As you said, it's like that 90 seconds is a make it or break it,
Yeah.
basically, of how it goes. And I think to kind of like relate to that, I would personally, two words, I would say it's fine. Sometimes my head is already boiling, but I'd say it's fine, it's fine. And those, it just started out as words, right? I just tell myself that it's fine, but again, as you and what Robert said, say that every single time, and suddenly you're like, yeah, you know what? It's fine. We're good. It's all good. So, yeah, thank you so much, Lee, for your wonderful talk as well. And I hope that also serves as like a reminder for everyone listening in that it's okay, it happens, but we also have the control, to do what's next. Thank you so
Yeah.
much once again, Lee, for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, that was actually absolutely wonderful, and I really like how the current trajectory of our talks are going. It's like stuff that we somehow already know, right? It's like at the back of our heads, we already know it. We already know that affirmations aren't just words, It's we have to embody it, we have to remember it. But sometimes it's also very, very easy to forget that they're not just words, right? Sometimes it's easy to forget about these quote unquote basic stuff, that small things that we can actually do on a day to day to help us like improve our lives for the better, or achieve our goals, and to hear it from actual people who embody it, live through it, and are now gladly influencing the lives of others. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And that said, I'd also like to welcome our next enlightened speaker, who is a spiritual leader, a yogi, a humanitarian, a mentor, and a visionary, awakening humanity through mystic wisdom, community, and service. He is also an artist, an award winning ecstatic chant musician, an author, and a teacher, representing the path of the liberated siddhas. Once again, everyone, join me in welcoming and giving all our love and attention. Let's welcome Nandhiji.
Namaste, divine beings.
Namaste, Nandhiji. How are
So
you? How are you today?
wonderful, divine being. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having me
Thank
here.
you. We're looking forward to your talk today.
Thank you. Uh, the power of affirmation is such a powerful topic. And when we go deeper into affirmation for manifestation, we would want to go into the process of a thinking and how we can magnify and bring power to every thought. So when we go into affirm what we seek, the manifestation is an ease. So within each one of us is the process where we need to ask, where are we receiving our thoughts from? Now, where we are produces this thought that creates that layer of reality. Think from wisdom, we create heavens. So when we seek greater quality of thoughts to set into motion the intent within to action and manifestation, we would need to go into the inner science of it. One of my gurus, he was up in a mountain meditating for 18 years. And when we would go to see him, you are not to talk to him. You simply take his mantra, walk around and round and round, saying the mantra with your intent, and anything that you desire comes true. Anything. Now, he had a question for me, and he said, what is it that you really want to manifest? Whatever you want is like asking for a safety pin. It's going to be, or asking for a wonderful car, it's going to be with you. And then what happens afterwards when it's gone? Instead, manifest and seek, rather, seek to be God. So all that you want is with you all the time. So let's draw that principle into ourselves to see how we can actually utilize the power of affirmation to its potency. Now, every chakra of ours, each chakra of ours holds a particular layer of manifestation within us. So let's begin our inner journey of affirmation. Keep our fingers in chin mudra. This is the chin mudra. Sit erect. Take a deep inhale and go all the way down to the root chakra. And hold the breath. And when you hold the breath at the root chakra and exhale slowly, understand that the root chakra is where the basics of our life begins. Our life begins at the roots. So, set an affirmation. May I receive the highest quality thought, quality of thoughts. May my every thought be the absolute blessings. So let's start with the root chakra thought of receiving wisdom and knowing that from here, the basics of our need in all its forms are complete. So let's take a deep inhale, go down to the roots, and from the roots, let's make this affirmation. May every thought of mine be wisdom. May I have the highest of all the thoughts. Now, climb up above the navel chakra, which is the Guru chakra. This is where we understand how we can attain the quality of higher wisdom. Once we've climbed up above the navel, we are now detached to the body. We are more the spirit having the human experience. So climb up above the navel, be conscious of the place above the navel, take a deep inhale, lift the breath up above the navel, and here affirm, I am the spirit having the human experience. Feel that you are the spirit having the human experience. This is where we are able to surrender our thoughts and go into meditation. The moment we come here, we are detaching ourselves from the I, the ego, the body, the mind. We are beginning to go beyond the mind, beginning to go beyond the body, and this is here where our thinking process is transforming itself to the wisdom end. Now, come into the heart chakra. And from the heart chakra, know that we are the three-dimensional being. The first is an infinite being in the body. The second, we are the soul, the beautiful golden being in this body. And then the heart chakra itself, the epicenter. Here, when we affirm, I am love, I am gratitude, I am whole, the quality of our mind, of our thought now becomes even greater. Now, from here, feel this space. Feel this space as a meditative core within. The space where we are one in communion with our higher self. We are one in communion with Source, God, Goddess, Infinity, Absolute. And let's make this affirmation. I am love. I am gratitude. I am whole. In this wholeness, I am complete. I am the bliss form of love. Now, know that from here, our wisdom is leading us to a space where we are able to dissolve fate, karma, limitations, and that is the throat chakra. In the throat chakra is where we are experiencing all the karma of many lifetimes. We would like to dissolve it. When we dissolve it, we come into the absolute now, the power of now. Here, all limitations we are facing is dissolved away from the space, from the vibrations of our wisdom. So let's go into the wisdom of knowing. We are the eternal being having this human experience, and all the past of the human is dissolved into the higher self that we are. Here, if we are experiencing limitations in any forms, lack of money, lack of love, lack of relationships, lack of anything else, that is fate. We are dissolving it. Here we assume the responsibility of being the master of our destiny. Here we are assuming a true form of being Dharma, the throat chakra. So let's say the affirmation. I am the master of my destiny. I am the instrument of Source, God, Goddess. I know no limits. Anything that is holding me back has dissolved in my light of being. My higher vibrations is my realities. Now, transcend up to the crown chakra. From the crown chakra, affirm, I am, I am, I am. And the crown chakra is knowing that we are the collective consciousness of all the enlightened light. When the crown chakra is woken up, the I has become the we of all the light beings. Now, our genius is awake. We are now receiving the highest wisdom to translate into the realities of heavens for ourselves as experience and heavens as realities. We've woken up to a higher purpose. We have now transformed karma to dharma. We are dharma. So let's make this affirmation. I am dharma. I am here to fulfill myself in my higher purpose. Let my wisdom be my realities. May every thought of mine be the highest wisdom that manifests. May I think as one humanity. May I think as all the angelic beings. May I be the wisdom of source, God, Goddess. May every thought of mine be the heavens that transforms me and transforms everyone, all of humanity. Now, you've got to take both your hands together. Your left hand is your mother. Your right hand is your father. Feel your mother and father as in gratitude and rub your palm slowly and feel every cell of ours vibrate in gratitude. Now feel the left hand as the left breath and feel the right hand as the right breath, bringing them together. Feel the power. Feel the left hand as our fate, our karma. Feel the right hand as a dharma, our higher self. Rub our palms together and feel the blessings. And now feel the human self that we are and feel the divine cosmic oneness, God, Goddess, Source, Infinity, Absolute. Rubbing our palms together, affirm, I am, I am, I am, and receive the blessings. May every thought be the highest affirmation. May every moment of ours be scriptures. May each moment be the blessings. Gratitude. Om Namah Shivaya. Gratitude. Gratitude to each of us. May we all be the divinity that manifests heavens for all and for ourselves. Gratitude, divine being.
Thank you so much, Nandhiji, for that. I was doing the exercise right before so I am still in the bit of that headspace of those past few minutes of just feeling the gratitude, feeling everything in our palms and our and every chakra of our being. So thank you so much for allowing us to be in that space. Because sometimes what we need is to just be in that space. You know, we fail to realize how important it is to be in that kind of headspace. So I think right now, what I do have a question in mind, um, it's kind of like what
Yes.
I'm going for in the past few speakers that we have as well, coming from the perspective of us just being humans, right? Um, what do you think, what for you is the best way to have that grounding moment? You know, sometimes when we close our eyes, no matter how much we try to silence our thoughts, to silence our doubts, to silence the busyness of everyday life, it happens. Like it just unconsciously seeps through. So, what would be your advice for us to kind of like quiet the world for just a bit, just so we can have that moment of gratitude, moment of feeling peaceful within ourselves again?
Everything is vibrations. So be aware in every breath that you can raise the vibration that we are in, whatever might be the reality.
Mhm.
However good or bad, reality is going to go up, down. But we can be the higher vibrancies at any time. That's our choice. Our choice can be that we can be the divinity. And once we are the divinity, we do not chase, we attract. We
Thank
are
you.
not the planet going around. We are the sun that allows the planet to go around us. The moment we have shifted ourselves to the epicenter, then all that we seek comes to us. The moment we become the epicenter, we are not bothered by whatever might be the hassles or trauma of anything around us, because we simply are that love, we simply are that bliss, we simply are the higher vibrancies, and this higher vibrancies transforms everything around us and actually manifests whatever it is into the same vibrancies that we are. So when we
Mhm.
are love, the body turns to become bliss. When we are divine, the reality turns to become heavens. So all of this is from inside out. So when inside we are that, then around us, it is only natural that what we are, it we become. And what we are, we transform to be.
I like that very much. What we are, we become, and what we are, we transform to be. And particularly, I personally will jot that down. I'm grateful that we have a recording of this session as well, because I'm also taking down notes that we are not the planets, but we are the sun. We are the sun, where the planets are also revolving around us. And when we put ourselves in the center, then everything else follows. So, Nandhiji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us that space. Not only just a reminder, but also that few minutes of space to just be grateful for everything and grounding us in that peaceful sense within ourselves. Thank you so much for your time today.
Wonderful, by the way. Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Gratitude.
I think I said this in our previous talks as well. Sometimes it's one of the toughest things of hosting such virtual events is I really get in the moment of what our speakers are sharing as well. So once I'm back on stage, I cannot fully bring myself to be in that moment again, because our speakers are so impactful. I'm taking notes while the speakers are sharing their stories, and sometimes things get really down to the core, like what Nadhiji shared with us just now. So thank you so much again for your time and for allowing us that a few minutes of peace and gratitude within ourselves. And definitely, that is not yet the end. We still have a couple more speakers to share their own insights, to tell us of our daily affirmations, to remind us of things that we might have been forgetting in order for us to really feel at peace with ourselves and get in tune with our higher selves. So, up next, excuse me, up next on our virtual stage is one who has dedicated her path to helping others uncover authentic happiness, self belief, and personal growth. Her message is simple yet absolutely profound. True happiness isn't something we chase outside of ourselves, but something that we cultivate within. Through her wisdom and lived experiences, she empowers people to shift their mindsets, embrace affirmations, and live more fulfilled lives. Let's all welcome and give our love and attention to Susan Blanton.
Hi, thank you so much. Welcome everybody. Like she said, I'm Susan Blanton. Now I'm supposed to be talking about the power of affirmations, but let me start by saying that affirmations don't work sometimes. You may already think that affirmations don't work, and that's okay. You're not crazy, you're not broken. You're just trying to do affirmations like many other people try to use affirmations. And that's by repeating something your brain absolutely does not believe. So instead of saying the affirmation, I am wealthy, um, your subconscious goes, right, I'll get right on that. And then nothing changes. And that's the real reason that affirmations don't work. It's not the words, it's the believability. Your subconscious is like a guard dog. And if it feels like something's too far from what it knows to be seemingly true for us, it blocks it because it's not trying to be mean. It's just because its only job is to keep you safe. And anything unfamiliar, even something positive, feels unsafe at first. So instead of trying to go for that big jump, you have to speak its language. Our subconscious understands small, believable steps, micro shifts. So you have to be careful not to create an affirmation that your subconscious is going to see as a lie or a fantasy. We just need to make one that is slightly better, a believable version. So let me give you something real. Let's say that you always say, I'm horrible with money. I can never save anything. Maybe you've said it for years, maybe since childhood, perhaps because when you were a child, you didn't learn how to save money. And now it plays automatically in your subconscious, and this is blocking you. And it's keeping you from achieving your financial goals. And you're tired of living this pattern, this belief cycle, and you want to make a change. So good for you. That's the first step. And I've tried affirmations like, I'm financially abundant and I'm financially free. And your subconscious just throws the whole thing in the trash. But if you start repeating affirmations like, I'm finding small creative ways to save money, now you're headed in the right direction. Now your subconscious has something to work with. Now, you want to add fuel to the fire? You back it up with a simple action. Let's say you do want to get better at saving money. And so maybe perhaps you think that a way you can start saving money is you want to start making your coffee at home before work and skip Starbucks on your way to work. And let's do the math now to seal the deal for your subconscious. $5 a day, skipping Starbucks, 5 times 5 work days a week for a year. That's $1,300. Now your subconscious is on board. And the affirmation, I'm finding small ways to save money, starts becoming your identity and your reality. This works for everything. Maybe you believe or say to yourself, nothing ever works out for me. So don't jump to my life is perfect. Let's say that for Mary Poppins. Let's try this affirmation instead. Good things are beginning to happen to me. And then when something does go right for you, no matter how small, acknowledge it. Even when you see a small win, like I got $5 refund on my account, keep acknowledging them over and over. And these events will get even better. So just keep looking for them. Let's try another example. If you find yourself feeling as if, or telling yourself, people always leave me, try this affirmation. I'm noticing when people do show up for me. And then take a moment at the end of the day and write down who supported you today. Even if it was just like a clerk at the store that was helping you find something. Or maybe you had somebody just called out of the blue. And when they do show up, take notice and say to them, well, thank you. That was so nice of you. And it was great to hear from you. Now, here's another one that people often struggle with. If you feel or think, I'm not good enough, or I'm not good enough to do this, Try the affirmation, I'm learning to show up for myself in new ways. See, these new little micro shift affirmations are how you can build a safety bridge for your subconscious and convince it that you have new plans for your life. But like we've heard already today, affirmations aren't just about words. You absolutely have to bring in the feeling. This is the other missing piece as to why affirmations don't work. The feelings you feel actually rewire your reality. However, trying to imagine feelings that you've never felt before might seem a little tricky or hard to conjure up. You don't have to know how to feel financially free or confident or beautiful or whatever reality you've never experienced before, but you can feel curiosity, you can feel the possibility, like a child, and pretend. Children don't have experience from what they've never, done before, but they imagine what it might feel like. So say this, what would it feel like if this were true? That sentence is alone a portal. You just have to wonder the possibility. The feelings that you practice become the life you attract. And this ties into my favorite exercise ever, the day in the life visualization. You just get a pen and paper and you start by imagining a day in your ideal life. Not the lottery winner fantasy. It's a believable upgrade of your current reality. How do you wake up? What does your morning feel like? How does your body move? How do people react to you? What small details make the day feel elevated? Let yourself feel it. Not forced, just the sensation of this would be nice and this feels possible. Your brain rehearses what you visualize and feel. If you rehearse the future you want, your brain starts expecting it. And once your brain starts expecting it, it starts creating it through decisions, through opportunities, through emotional shifts, and you may not even consciously notice. And another reason why your affirmations may not be working is that you cannot force the timing. Now, usually, we all know it's probably not going to happen overnight, but it could happen faster than you think as well. So let's talk about that 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan we've all been told that we need to make. And you develop your plan and you also include how you're going to accomplish something. How long and how. Guess what? You just told your subconscious it's going to take 5 years. You've locked in the timeline and how it's going to happen. One of the most successful CEOs in the world, Jason Huang from NVIDIA, openly says he's never had a 5-year plan or a 1-year plan, because when you decide the how and the when, you shrink what's possible. You limit the ways things can appear. Life can move in ways you can't predict, through people, through opportunities that don't even exist yet. Affirmations aren't about forcing reality. It's about lining up with it and letting it meet you halfway. Remember, your subconscious is not your enemy. It's your internal autopilot. And once you program it to a new believable direction, it will start steering you towards it without even trying. That's the real power of affirmations. They're focused, believable self-talk. Affirmations are your emotional rehearsal and visualization of your new reality. They're a quiet shift that eventually becomes your loud lifestyle change. You don't manifest what you say. You manifest what you consistently think about, feel, and expect. And you get to choose what you expect in your life, one believable step at a time. Affirmations can work, and they did for me. I have a sob story, and it's true. It sounds ridiculous, but at one point, I found myself divorced. Soon after, I lost my job and found myself standing in line at a food bank. Soon after, I got food stamps, was bankrupt, but I wanted a better life than that, better than ever. I wanted to be with my soulmate. I wanted a dream house. I even drew out the plans of my dream house. I wanted to work from home. I wanted my life by my design. And so guess what? I started out with those big affirmations, and you guessed it, they didn't work. I tried, I am wealthy, I am financially free, but my subconscious didn't buy it. Then I learned what I'm teaching you today. It took 3 day in the life visualizations and 3 vision boards to step by step where I got today, where I'm finally landed. So I do wake up with my soulmate every day with no alarm. We both work from home together, and we own the house that I dreamed of, the one I drew out. I even manifested my 100 grand dream car. It just landed in my garage. Seriously, didn't shop for it. It just happened. I couldn't have planned the how or the when. And so that's another story. So now it's your turn. What's the affirmation that you can believe in? Just enough that the universe can start bending reality around it for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan, for that wonderful talk. I mean, if you would notice the kind of questions that I've been asking the past speakers, it's more about like, human nature. Like, um, we're just humans. Our brains cannot easily be tricked. And I love that. I think, in all honesty, this is genuinely the first time I've heard of like, you can start feeding your, like, speaking its languages, I think, in the term that you used.
Right.
And I do get that sometimes you have all of these big affirmations. It's like, and I guess that's like with anything, right? When you're an athlete and you try to do long sprints all in one go, the next thing you know, you're probably doing it for a bit, then the next thing you know, you fall off.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to do big steps with absolutely anything, a new hobby you're trying out, a new skill that you want to master, then you take this big step immediately, and it's not going to be sustainable. And I like that you kind of like remind us that it also works in the small ways. Sometimes, as people, we have this immediate notion of like, when it's affirmation, it's instantly all the good things, right? I deserve all the good things, which we genuinely do also.
Mm-hmm.
But what are these smaller steps that we can like actually do? And I think that's something that we pretty much miss out when we do such exercises. So thank you so much for kind of like reminding us. And to me personally, it's like, yeah, you know what? That's right. We can start small. We can start small with something that's to be more attainable, basically.
And I think a lot of times we're not listening to our subconscious, because as soon as we say an affirmation, we will hear in the background, yeah, right. That's not going to work. You've never done that before. You're never going to do that. That's not going to happen. And
Absolutely.
so, you're back to where you started, but if you can do something like, well, I can try this, make this small step, then your like subconscious is like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can do that. That's manageable. Yeah.
I'll give you an opportunity for that.
I think we can make that work. You
And
got a point there.
I think the thing that I've learned, and I didn't really say this today, but when you're asking for something, you could say ask it or something better, or how you're going to get it. You don't know how you're going to get it. I mean, and just talking about my car, for example, that still kind of blows my mind how that happened. I had a C8 convertible on my vision board, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford $100,000 car.
Mhm.
And that was in my brain.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do that. Right. But I was like, well, I'll just put it up there. I'll put it on my vision board and see what happens. I didn't have to have it. I didn't have to figure out how I was going to get it. I just was like, I'll just put it on there for fun. And my soulmate, he ended up getting it, and he was going to flip the car. He was going to buy it and then flip it. And long story short, he said, well, it's on your vision board. And I had given him some money to help with it because he was buying another car. So he said, well, why don't you just take it? And we did kind of a seller finance deal. And then he even had it wrapped for me. And I didn't even ask him to have it wrapped. And so it looks exactly like the one I have on my vision board. And so it, like I said, it landed in my garage without me even shopping for it or trying. It just happened. So,
and it's from your soulmate.
I couldn't have dreamed how that was going to happen. I couldn't say, well, why don't you go buy this for me? And eventually I couldn't have made it up. Right. So that's how things happen. You have to just go, well, wouldn't it be nice if that could be a possibility? I mean, it wasn't impossible, but
right.
And I didn't have to have it. So I think that when we grip something so hard, it will elude us. And that's another thing that we have to kind of like, well, we'll just see let's be excited on how it's going to come. When we wish for Santa to get us a bike, we don't care what color or anything like that, or how it's going to be, or how we're going to write it, or how it's going to happen. Or maybe it's this Christmas or next Christmas. We don't know. We're just excited if it comes. So that's kind of how we have to look at our affirmations, is little believability steps.
Thank you so much, Susan, for that wonderful reminder and the story, actually, for sharing with us that wonderful story. I like that this card that you couldn't have, thought that it's possible also came from your soulmate, which is also a part of your affirmations and manifestations at some point. So that's a beautiful reminder for all of us that these big things, started with these small affirmations, these small actionable, thoughts that we have. So once again, thank you, Susan, for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, and genuinely, I absolutely love that part where it's something that's more human at this point. It's not something that feels so impossible to reach, right? If we have those smaller steps, like I think of it as the same way when we're trying to build a skill. If I would say, for example, I'm a host, right? If I'm gonna envision immediately standing in front of, say, hundreds and thousands of people in a big place, I'd be like, yeah, no, that's not, that's probably not gonna happen, maybe. But if we envision like starting off, say, for example, in this space, like Global Speakers Talk, who also gives opportunities for people who also want to share their stories, then it's actionable, and it's something that eventually we get the feel of it. We have a feeling of, oh, I can do something like this. This is apparently possible for me. So how can I move forward, right? How can I move forward? What actionable items can I do to move forward? And then the next thing you know, we are gearing ourselves towards the bigger goals or bigger manifestations in life. And that said, we have so much more to hear for today. And up next on our virtual stage is an award-winning author, inspirational speaker, and a resilience advocate who has defied expectations and achieved greatness. Born with a physical disability, he was told he might never walk, but he proved them wrong, completing the Tele 10, earning 3 college diplomas, and launching Crocker's transformative thinking to help others unlock their inner strength. Join me once again in welcoming and sharing our love and attention to Sheldon S. Crocker.
Hello. Thank you
Hello,
for
Sheldon. How are you doing today?
great. Thank you for having me.
We're excited to hear what you have in store for us, so please feel free to take it away.
Thank you for being here with me today. I'm truly grateful to be a part of the third annual Global Speakers Talk International Live Conference. And I'm especially grateful for the chance to speak about something that shaped my life more than anything I ever expected. The voice inside. We all have a voice inside. Because long before our achievements, long before our confidence, long before we ever step into the world each day, we're already living inside a story we didn't even realize we were telling ourselves. So let me ask you this gently. What story are you living inside of right now? Not the story others see, not the one you present online. I mean the private story, the one that whispers to you when things get quiet. For most of my life, that inner voice wasn't kind. It told me I wasn't enough. It told me I wouldn't amount to anything. It told me that being born different meant being born less than. Self talk isn't just commentary, it's construction. It builds the identity that you walk around with. And if your inner voice was shaped by comparison, trauma, or survival, like mine was, then you've been living under a weight you never chose. But here's the truth I had to learn: you cannot grow inside a strong version of yourself using the language that broke you. Most people think negative thoughts are random. They're not. They loop, they repeat, they settle in like wallpaper you stop noticing. The moment I learned that affirmations weren't feel good lines, but pattern interrupters, everything's changed for me. An affirmation is a doorway. It's you saying, I don't have to stay in this old room anymore. Instead of repeating, I'm broken, I began saying, I'm becoming someone stronger every day. Instead of people see my disability, I told myself my worth is bigger than what the world sees. When you repeat a sentence long enough, your brain starts believing it. And when your brain believes something, your life begins rearranging itself around that belief. There was a period in my life when everything felt impossible. And I really don't say that lightly. I'm talking about the days when I woke up with no sense of direction, the nights when addiction wrapped itself around every thought I had, the weeks where home was every place I could find to stay warm for a few hours. I remember one night in particular. It was cold, the kind of cold that gets into your bones and makes you question how much more you can take. I was sitting outside a building downtown, my back against the concrete, my mind foggy from drinking, my body tired from carrying years of pain that I didn't know how to name. And in that moment, when everything in me wanted to give up, the only words I could manage were, I'm still here. It wasn't powerful, it wasn't polished, it wasn't the kind of affirmation you find in a book, but it was the truth I needed in that second. It was the thread that kept me from slipping away entirely. The one small sentence became the first brick in rebuilding a life I wasn't sure I deserved yet. And even though I didn't know it at the time, repeating, I'm still here, was the beginning of choosing myself again. And that's the thing about affirmations. They don't always start as bold declarations. Sometimes they start as survival. I once met a woman who had been in and out of addiction recovery for years. She carried shame like a heavy coat and said to me, I keep failing because I'm weak. Well, I invited her to try a new statement. I'm learning to stand again. She repeated it daily, sometimes every hour, and over time, she didn't suddenly become free of cravings, but she did become free of believing she was hopeless. When shame loosens its grip, she began making choices from strength instead of fear, and that's when her recovery finally held. You might ask, why do these stories matter? These transformations didn't happen from luck. They happened because belief, even the smallest belief, was repeated long enough to take root. Belief isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline, and repetition is what strengthens it. The right words, spoken consistently, can rebuild a life from the inside out. I've lived that truth, I've witnessed it in others, and that is the power of affirmations. So here's a simple, grounded way to build affirmations that truly work, or at least I believe they do. Not the fluffy kind, not the unrealistic kind, but the kind that changes how you think, how you show up, and how you live. 13 simple steps, actually. That's what I have anyway. Step one, start with one area for your life. Affirmations work best when they're focused. So ask yourself a simple question: what part of my life needs strength right now? Is it confidence, healing, boundaries, money, self worth, maybe living with a disability? Choose one. That's where your affirmation begins. Step two, be honest about the self talk you already hear. Before we create a new belief, we have to understand the old one. Think about the thoughts that show up in that area. I always mess things up. I'm a burden. I'll never get ahead. These might be uncomfortable to say out loud, but honesty is the foundation of real change. Step three, find a desire behind the negative thoughts. Every painful thought points towards something we want. If the thought is, I'm a burden, the desire is to feel valued. If the thought is, I always fail, the desire is to feel capable. And this desire becomes the seed of your affirmation. Step four, make the affirmation believable. Your mind will reject what feels too far away. So instead of saying, I'm fully confident and unstoppable, say, I'm learning to trust myself a little more each day. Real change begins when what your mind can accept. Step five, speak to who you're becoming. Affirmations work when they shape identity. Use phrases like, I am learning to, I'm becoming someone who, I'm beginning to believe that. This tells your mind where you're headed, even if you're not there yet. Step six, add emotion to the words. An affirmation is not just a sentence, it's a feeling. Say it slowly, let it land, let the body soften for a moment. When you add emotion, your mind listens. Step seven, tie your affirmation to purpose. We all have some purpose, even if we don't really know what it is right now. Ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Maybe it's so you can show up for others. Maybe it's to heal. Maybe it's to build a future that feels safe and strong. When you connect your affirmation to your purpose, it becomes unstoppable. Step eight, keep it simple. If you can't say it easily, you won't say it consistently. Short, clear, everyday language works best. Your mind loves clarity. Step nine, say it out loud and notice how your body reacts. If your affirmation feels impossible, soften it. If it feels like a stretch, but still possible, then you found the right one. Step 10, choose when you'll repeat it. Affirmations work through repetition, just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. Pick two daily moments when you'll repeat it. For me, I like to say them before I go to bed or in the morning. Mornings and evenings while making a cup of tea. The power is in your consistency. Step 11, add one tiny action that matches your affirmation. Words become stronger when you live them out, even in small ways. If your affirmation is about confidence, speak up once tomorrow. If it is about healing, take one small step to support your well being. Tiny action builds solid foundation. Step 12, look for proof, no matter how small. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what did I do today that fits with my affirmation? Write down even the smallest evidence. Over time, you'll see how much you've grown. And step 13, let your affirmation evolve. As you grow, your affirmation grows with you. What begins as I'm learning to can eventually become I am someone who shows up with strength and purpose. That's the power of affirmations. They help you become the person you're stepping into. So, a few examples. For example, for confidence, I'm learning to trust myself more each day so I can show up and make a real difference. For living with a disability, I'm beginning to believe that my needs matter and I deserve care, respect, and support. Or for healing and recovery, I'm becoming someone who chooses what supports my healing, one decision at a time. Affirmations saved my life long before I ever thought about them. But I learned everything the slow way. No guidance, no structure, just pain and persistence. So before I end, I want to leave you with something that continues to shape my life every day. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love. If someone you care about came to you scared, overwhelmed, or ashamed, you wouldn't judge them. You wouldn't tear them down. You wouldn't tell them they're not enough. You'd take a breath, sit with them, and say, I'm with you. You're capable. You're worth the effort. And you deserve to hear the same words yourself. You deserve gentleness. You deserve compassion. You deserve a voice that supports the life you're trying to build. Your inner voice is either your anchor or your wings. And today, you get to choose which one carry you forward. So thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving yourself permission to begin rewriting the voice inside you. Affirmations are not magic words. They are daily reminders of who you are becoming. And every one of us is growing into something stronger, clearer, and more grounded than we were before.
Thank you so much, Sheldon, for that wonderful talk that you gave us just now. And I like that you gave us actual steps that worked for you. Sometimes there are these like big thoughts, big general thoughts that we have about affirmations, about meeting our higher self, meeting our most improved self. But sometimes all of these thoughts can be very cluttered or all over the place. So to hear them in very actionable steps laid out very nicely, I think that's very, very much helpful to us, Sheldon. So thank you so much for that. And I do have one question. I think we are coming from a space, our speakers and some of our chatters right now, where somehow affirmation already works for us. Probably not as effective or not as where we would want to be, but somehow we are practicing it in one way or another, right? But somehow while I was listening to you and you were telling a story about your life story rather, couldn't help but think that somehow, some way, probably someone would encounter the live recording and would be like absolutely skeptic, oh, those things don't work. They're just ways that people make you try to make you feel better. Some people are just earning money from it and all. There are skeptics, that's for sure. If you would, if say for example, a skeptic is listening up until this point in our talk right now, whether it's right here in this live or in the future when they're checking out the recording, what is the first step that you personally would like them to take, or a first thought that you'd want them to have to hopefully kind of like gear them a step forward into believing that, this is something that I can embody. This is something that I can slowly follow step by step.
Well, thank you for the very good question. I would say what my first step is the first place to start. Just start with one area of your life and give it a try. I mean, it's either you try it or you don't try it. If the results are not, if the results don't change, then it didn't change for you. But
Right.
I would just say start with what part of your life needs strength right now, and to give it a try. Because
Give it a
if you don't
try.
start, if you don't start at the beginning, and it's not going to work.
Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you so much, Sheldon, for answering that question for also future listeners, who might be skeptical about the power of affirmation. Once again, thank you for your time and for sharing your life
Thank
story
you.
and your steps with us. Yeah, so one of the things that I really liked as we progress into this session today is that from the first speaker down to Sheldon right now, from Robert down to Sheldon, we're actually getting actionable items. We actually have steps. It's not just all about this is affirmation, this is what we do, this is what should be done, right? It's everyone has different stories, everyone has different approaches in terms of how to properly practice affirmations, how to properly get in tune with ourselves in that regard. So I'm absolutely grateful to that. And definitely we are going to be hearing more from our speakers today, starting off with our next speaker, who is a former global airline supervisor with over 2 decades in international flight operations. After losing her aviation career during COVID, she transformed her life through breathwork, Chinese metaphysics, and energy alignment. Today, she works as a wealth energy mentor and breathwork facilitator, helping people cross the blazing fire. I like this, cross the blazing fire of confusion, fear, and stuckness into clarity, calm power, and aligned next steps. So, aligned next steps. We're going to be hearing more steps, which I absolutely love. My journal is absolutely ready. So I hope you guys are also taking notes. Her clients describe her session as life shifting, bringing direction, deep grounding, and the confidence to move forward with utmost clarity. Let's all give our love and attention once again and join me in welcoming Yuen Lo. Hi, Yuen. How are you doing today?
Oh my God, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I mean, just thank you, Pao. It was so wonderful to hear what you said just now. And thank you also for Sheldon and all the previous speaker. I'm just so emotional because, I kind of I hear such amazing talks and so on. And so I just want to say that thank you. I'm so privileged to be here. And thank you for you being here also. So, nowadays, many people today, I should say, are absolutely exhausted by high performance talk and really spiritually hungry for something real. What's that something? Something that helps them remember who they truly are, because we are powerful beings. You see, I'm not here to sell breath work or birth energy mapping. I'm here to offer something far more intimate, a return to your true self. Because here's what I learned. Affirmations only work when your body believes them. You can repeat, I'm enough 1,000 times. But if your nervous system is in survival mode, your body won't hear it. It won't hear you. Your words just say one thing, but your energy, your body is screaming something completely different. You say, oh, I'm abundant, but you feel lack. You say, I'm confident, but you feel not good enough. Can you relate to that? That's why affirmation often doesn't stick. They don't work. They don't stick. They float on the surface because what you are saying is not what you're feeling. Real affirmation begins when your body and your words are aligned. That is, they agree in unison. There was a time when I thought success meant constant movement. I worked in global airline operations for 2 decades, airports, deadlines, no sleep, no social life, just work. Can you relate to that? My phone was my heartbeat, and then COVID hit. The plane stopped. The airport went silent, and so did I. Everything that once defined me just disappeared overnight. I remember sitting alone in my apartment in Madrid for the first time in years. There was just silence. No boarding calls, no checklist, just me. I felt so naked and so useless. Why? Maybe because I wasn't in my usual busyness, doing everything, trying to be everywhere, to be everyone for everybody. Can you relate to that? But you know what? In that silence, I heard something I ignored for years. I've spent my whole life doing, never being. That was my initiation into a new way of being, my dark night of the soul, as it were. You see, I grew up in a very turbulent home. I often felt like a houseplant with no sunshine, no water, and a rock on top of it. I grew in strange directions, surviving, not thriving. Because when you grow up without emotional safety, with no physical support, with not a safe home, your body learns to live on alert constantly. And your nervous system is activated on defense all the time. That's why no matter how many affirmations I said, I'm loved, I'm safe, I'm supported, my body never believed them. It wasn't until I discovered breath work that something shifted. When I began to breathe deeply, consciously, just 2 breaths, I feel so much calmer and so much in this moment with you. Can you relate to that? And as Louise Hay said, you have been criticizing yourself for years, right? And it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Affirmation ain't about forcing new thoughts. No, they're about feeling safe enough to believe the truth that you've always have inside yourself. If only you stopped your busyness for just one moment. I want to share another story with you. Here's the thing. Your energy, your natural born energy has a design. Your birth energy blueprint is not a destiny, but it's a map. The lessons with all you have come to learn in this lifetime. For example, some people are born Ferraris. They move fast, they make bold turns. Others are tractors. They're grounded, they're methodical, and they're steady. But what happens when a Ferrari tries to plow through a muddy field? They get stuck, powerful engine going nowhere. Or when a tractor tries to race on a highway, they're overwhelmed by all the fast-moving cars. So they got burned out all the same. So you need to know your natural energy blueprint to get into flow more often. You need to follow your natural energy flow. That's what I was doing for years, forcing myself to be a Ferrari in a tractor's farm lane, very muddy, not doing too well, very powerful engine, but going nowhere. When I finally aligned with my natural energy, birth energy, everything just got easier. I didn't need to push or force event to happen. I was in flow. They just happened. And affirmations that I was saying to myself started to land because my body wasn't resisting anymore. It was allowing and receiving. And it was amazing. Synchronicity begins to happen. And as Abraham Hicks always said, we are powerful beings. So I ask you, why? Why do you hide yourself into a little corner and keep telling yourself you're not good enough? Because you are good enough. And a few months ago, I took a spontaneous trip to the mountain of Odessa, north of Madrid, north of Spain. Because you know I'm a mountain lover. No plan, no schedule, just a feeling. I just let my energy guide me. Every little thing fell perfectly into place. The weather, the timing, finding the right hostel, meeting new people, even discovering a hidden monastery on our way back. It was synchronicity at work because your energy is in flow. You believe in it. It was like the universe was whispering, see, when you flow, I handle the details for you. That's what affirmation does when it's embodied. That's the power of affirmation. It's not about control. It's about coherence. It's about alignment. Your body, your mind, your energy, all vibrating together. Here, I must confess, I'm a movie buff. I love movies because they're just so magical. And do you remember the scene from the movie Indiana Jones when Harrison Ford stands on the edge of the canyon and he has to step into thin air before the bridge appears? That's what affirmation is. It is having tremendous faith. It is about stepping into the unknown, going out of your comfort zone, not because you're sure, no, but because you believe in something that you can't see yet. But they're in vibrations. The momentum is moving, and it is all about that belief. So when you truly believe it, the universe shows it to you, whatever it is that you desire. But the key is you must believe it first, not just your words, but also your body. Because the attraction point is set up in your subconscious, in how you feel. You attract not who you are, but how you feel. And sometimes the bridge doesn't appear until your foot touches the thin air, just like in the movie of Indiana Jones. That's what happened to me when I began trusting my breath, my body, and my natural energy flow. The bridge appeared, the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing. Everything just worked like magic. Synchronicity happened over and over and over again. I went from what you call burnt out to balance, from invisible to empowered, from overthinking to taking simple steps and simple actions. Now, what do? I guide others to do the same, to cross that blazing flyer. Coaches, entrepreneurs, driven creatives, healers, even the sensitive ones, the black sheep, who's been told, you are too much, you shine too brightly. Let me tell you a secret. You are not too much. You are just untapped energy waiting to be aligned. So next time you say, I'm enough, pause and breathe. Breathe in, I'm enough, just like you really meant it. Really feel it first. Let's take a breath together. Once more. You really feel that because when your body believes your word, your world responds, responding to how you feel in this moment. So who am I? Well, I'm Yuen. I was in flight operations for more than 2 decades. And then in COVID time, I retrained as a wealth energy mentor. And I'm now here to guide you, the ready ones, to cross the blazing fire, to get to the next level. And if the ordinary world has always felt too small for you, and you know deep down you are meant for something bigger, then let's connect. My website is Radiant Success with the number 9. That is Radiant, RADINT, and then Success, SUCCESS, and the number 9. Let's connect and chat. And dear Luke Walker, I love to be your Yoda. Yes, from the Star Wars movie, because I'm a movie buff. Let's walk this path together. Because I broke through. I crossed the blazing fire. But it's so much faster, safer, and more impactful if it's someone to guide you. So let's cross it together. And thank you so very much for being here. And thank you to Global Speaker Talk for this wonderful golden opportunity. Until we meet again, stay radiant. And remember to connect with me on my website, Radiant Success number 9. Let's say this out loud together and really feel it as a rehearsal of the powerful affirmation. You are never, never broken. You are just coming home to yourself. And you're not here by accident. You're here because you're meant to be here. Again, I'm Yuen, your wealth energy mentor. Thank you for being here. And I see you on the inside. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yuen, for that wonderful, wonderful talk. I like that you are very open as well about your life stories and to kind of like touch on the inner self. Sometimes we fail to acknowledge what we really feel inside, and we're just so busy, we're just so, as you mentioned, yeah, you were talking about it earlier, 2 decades, like airports, on calls, flights here and there, no sleep, no social life. And yeah, and I was like a bit curious. I've been asking the past speakers some questions also. I think my question for you is like, you were put in this space, right? You mentioned that COVID put a stop to like everything, and you're like, what happens next? What do you mean I'm not on the go? What do you mean I'm not like busy? What do you mean I'm not rushing towards the next thing, right? But you were kind of like placed in that position because of a global thing. But for now, I mean in the now where people are just always on the go also. I also came from another talk before the session about mental health on the digital age, right? Where we're talking about the first thing when we wake up, we reach for our phones. We have 5 minutes of downtime, we scroll social media, next thing we know, an hour has passed. So if we don't have that, lack of a better term, external factor, right, to kind of like put a pause on our lives and to reassess things and to slow down our minds, what do you think what would be kind of like your personal advice or your personal take on how we can experience that same type of reassessment, that same type of slowing down that you experienced?
Thank you. Such a wonderful question, Paul. I'll tell you something. I'm going to tell you a little secret, a little tip. My morning routine. I wake
Okay.
up, and before I even reach for my phone, I say a few really powerful affirmation to myself when I'm just in my bed, just waking up, that I'm protected by the universe, I'm supported by an ocean of love, and things always work out for me. And I take 5 deep breaths. Breathe in and breathe out through my mouth to release yesterday's vibration energy and start the day afresh. It's what I call like an energy shower. Instead of you having a shower in the morning, you have an energy shower before you
Sure,
reach
okay.
for your phone. Yes.
Mhm.
5-minute energy shower. And I share this with many people. They can just download it. It's an MP3 freebies that I share in my website. So this is what I do. And this is what I advise everybody to do. Don't reach for your phone. But when you're laying in your bed, just waking up, just coming into consciousness, do a few minutes energy shower. Breathe in, sign it out, and say 3 or 4 affirmations. Something simple like, I'm protected by the universe. I'm supported by ocean of love. I'm blessed and highly favored. Things are always working out for me. Those are mine. You can borrow mine until you find your own words. But just doing that will help you just give yourself a clean, fresh start to a new day. Yes, that is my golden kind of like tips to everybody who's listening here. Just a few minutes, 5 minutes energy shower. Clear
Energy
out
shower.
complete. Yeah, that's right. Instead of having a shower, you have an energy shower first, and then you step into your shower, right?
Your day.
Yeah, it's just like having a shower, but it's an energy shower. It helps your body to align to your energy in that moment that you wake up, and it's super powerful. And I've been doing this now for the last 10 years. The same routine, just a few minutes. Don't reach for your phone, but do yourself a favor. Breathe deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and say a few affirmations that you really believe in. Because I do believe that things always work out for me.
Work out for me. Yeah. I like that because I also have that kind of, that's my whole personal motto as well. I
Yeah,
have like in the universe I trust. That's my thing. Like whatever happens to me today, things are gonna happen nonetheless. I was saying earlier, things are gonna happen nonetheless. So
yes.
in the universe I trust, in the timing, like everything always works out for my favor. And I think that's absolutely beautiful, Yuen, and I'm thankful
Oh,
that you share that with us, in the sense that I think with how busy life is now, it's almost next to impossible to think that, can I really slow down, right? Can I really take the time to have this, as you said, energy shower? So it's like when we wake up and the sleep is still in our eyes. We can't seem to wake up. We go to the faucet and kind of like go to the sink and kind of like splash cold water just to get the sleep off of ourselves. And I think that's the same way where we have all of these we're kind of like over the edge, like, oh my gosh, what is my task list to do today? What, my emails are probably blowing up, my notifications. But then if we take those 5 minutes of and that 5 minute energy shower,
five
I think
minute energy shower before you reach for your phone, before you step out of your bed, when you're laying in your sombra, because that's the best moment. Your subconscious is still with you. You're not fully conscious. So that's the
right.
moment when you actually inhale deeply and breathe out all these vibrations the night before, and give yourself a really good chance to have a great day. 5 minutes energy shower, pal. Really works.
Give
Try out
yourself a
yourself.
chance
Just
to have
test
a
the
good
heck
day.
out of it. Don't believe me. Just test it out because it really works. Yeah.
I think that's also in line with what Sheldon said earlier. Just give it a try, right?
Yeah.
Like see
No, I love
see the
his talk.
results
It's amazing.
for
I
yourself.
couldn't remember all the steps, but I loved it. It's amazing.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Yuen, for your
Thank
time and
you.
for sharing us your story and that reminder. Like that, I think I've been saying that for all speakers as well. It's a reminder for
Mhm.
everyone that it's possible, whether it's slowing down, whether it's getting attuned to your higher self, whether it's giving yourself permission to have a good day, as he said, it's all possible. And sometimes you just need a reminder that it is.
You just start on the right footing, basically. 5 minutes energy shower will give you the right footing. It gives you an edge to start your day, a good edge.
A good edge. Just 5 minutes. First
Thank
five
you,
minutes.
pal. Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much,
you.
Yuen, for your time today. We
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate what you had to share.
Thank you.
Yes, and I love that we keep on getting new reminders, new reminders for ourselves with every speaker that we hear. I don't know about you guys, but my PC has like a notepad. I have my journal. I have like notes scattered all over because I feel like with every speaker that we have, we're getting more and more insights, getting more and more reminders that are, if I may say so, they feel very common, right? They feel like it's something that we subconsciously already know, or it's already at the back of our minds. But sometimes you just need a bit of a nudge. As Yuan mentioned earlier, sometimes it only happens when you take a step forward and you don't know if the bridge is there or not. But let's just hope for the best and see the results for us. So once again, to our speakers up until this point, thank you so much. And to Yuan, our recent speaker, once again, thank you. And on our next one, on our virtual stage up next is a biochemist by trade with a passion for speaking about the neuroscience behind mindsets. I really, really like this because it's sometimes we tend to forget that there's also like scientifical aspects backing this whole thing up. A lot of skeptics are saying that it's just all talk, right? It's just all fancy stuff. But we tend to forget that there is actually science behind all of this. So, through storytelling, science, and a few good laughs, she provides tools that everyone can use to change their thought patterns to achieve a greater satisfaction in life. Once again, with all our love and all our attention, let's all welcome Jillian Dean. Hi, Jillian. How are you doing today? Oh, I don't think uh we can't hear you, Jillian. Can we try that again? Oh, we can't hear you for now.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. We can hear you
I
now.
unplugged the fancy microphone, and apparently it's going to work better just using my laptop. So much for technology.
How are you doing today, Jillian?
I'm absolutely wonderful. And, I'm excited to talk about this topic. This is one of my favorites, actually, because as you said, I am a scientist. And I have a group of friends who years ago would talk about affirmations. And I'm not going to say I laughed at them. That's not what I did. But I was sort of like, oh, you think you're just going to say these things and it's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
And I was wrong. I'll admit it. I was
And
the
we're
one who was
looking
wrong.
forward to know how that mindset shifted. Because I was asking one of the speakers earlier as well, what's your message for those who are pretty skeptic, about this whole thing? So yeah, we're looking forward to your talk, Jillian.
Yeah, so that was me. I was definitely the skeptic. As a scientist, I kind of need to understand how things work before I can really buy in and say, "Oh, okay, I'm okay with this." And as I said, that was probably back in college, which is more years ago than I want to admit. That I started hearing about affirmations, and I was sort of giggling with my friends about this silliness that they were doing. But as I learned more about neuroscience and quantum physics, I was like, oh, yep, there is something to this. I'm not going to go into a big, long dissertation about neuroscience, but there are a couple of truths about your brain that everybody needs to know. And the first one is your brain is kind of dumb. It sounds silly to say that. Your brain is incredibly efficient. It's very good at what it does, but it's a data collector and it doesn't really know what data to collect. So, for example, anybody listening to this today, you're taking in so much data, your brain can't possibly process all of it. So what our brains do is they defer to our thoughts. The things we think about over and over again become these neural pathways. So if you're constantly saying, money flows freely to me, your brain believes that. It doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. And of the data that's coming in, your brain will start to collect pieces of data that support your thought process and your mindset. And there's a name for it. It's called the reticular activating system, or the RAS. And it's in your brainstem. And I always give this analogy I think everybody can understand. Just like your phone is constantly listening. It's watching what you're searching. It is collecting data on what you like and what you're paying attention to. So if you do a silly little search, Google something, you're going to get ads for that. We've all done it where we're like, oh my gosh, now my phone thinks I'm into miniature ponies or, whatever. And so your brain does the same thing. It's called the RAS, and it's going to say, okay, I'm taking all of this data in on a daily basis. It can't possibly process all of it. And so it takes its cue from your thoughts. So if you want to live a miserable life, think miserable thoughts. I promise you, your brain will collect data to support it. If you want to live a fabulous life, think fabulous thoughts. Your brain will collect data to support it. So that was kind of in my science background. Learning about the reticular activating system was the first time that I was like, wow, our thoughts are way more important than I ever realized. And affirmations really are spoken and thinking actions that we are doing. So, if one of your affirmations, which one of mine is, I'm in perfect health. The reality is I'm priming my brain to prime my immune system with all the biochemistry I need to heal faster, to not get sick as much. And again, the things I'm saying, I didn't just make up. There's research to back all of this up. The mindset you go into surgery with will determine your healing after surgery. There's a direct, people say the mind-body connection. It's very, very real. It very much comes back to this reticular activating system, or the RAS, which is listening to your thoughts and saying, okay, I'm Jillian. A lot of my thoughts are, my company's called Delusional Positivity. I just wrote a book called Prayer Mindset, which is coming out next year, early next year. And what I'm basically trying to teach people is it is important to monitor all of your thoughts. If you don't feel well, tell yourself you feel great. The people at my gym will tell you, when I walk in and they say, how do you feel? I always say, fantastic. I feel great. Maybe I don't, but I'm always going to put that out there. And in return, my body's going to secrete dopamine. The last speaker was talking about the energy shower in the morning. And I love that. I would add to that, what I do is I wake up in the morning and I smile and I say, today's a great day. And I set the intention that today is a great day. I've already told my mind today's a great day. So my RAS is now going to collect data to support that. So instead of seeing the lousy parts of the day, my brain is going to be looking for the good parts of the day because I primed it. I said, today's a great day. The smile, let's be honest, our alarm goes off. We're not always super happy. I do the smile because, again, your brain is kind of dumb. When you smile and trigger those muscles, it triggers a dopamine release, which is our happy chemical, our reward chemical, our motivating chemical. So I've kind of like primed my body that things are great and I feel great, even though realistically the alarm just went off, the day just started, but I've already gotten a dopamine hit and I've already tricked my brain into giving me a great day. So, that's like kind of the neuroscience part of it. The other part that I think, and again, I won't get too far into the weeds here, but the other part that's really fascinating that confirms the power of affirmations is the theories of quantum physics. Not really theories, they're pretty well supported. But we are all vibrating particles. If we want to get really simple with it, we're vibrating particles. And these particles have an infinite potential. And their potential is not realized until they are observed. So if you're thinking of, different outcomes and things like this, everything is a possibility until the act of observation. And so again, quantum physics is showing us everything exists in potential. And then your brain, your thoughts, are basically going to decide which potential becomes your reality. This is your thoughts. This is your reinforcing affirmations. And basically that's going to signal your brain what to look for and what possibilities to collapse into reality. And again, if you're a science nerd, you might have loved that. If you're not, it might have seemed a little bit out there, but it's not. It's the act of observation brings the reality of these vibrating particles. And again, I'm really taking all of life and collapsing it down to its most basic form. But particles behave like waves until they're observed. And a wave has an infinite possibility of location. So again, I hope I'm not getting too far out there, but I can't stress it enough. There is so much science to support the importance of your thoughts, the importance of your mindset. If your internal dialogue, maybe you're one of these people who wakes up in the morning and you do 25 affirmations out loud, but the rest of the day you spend thinking, my life is so crummy. I hate my job. I can't stand this. I can't stand that. If you're living in your head in a negative space, your RAS is going to continue to provide data that supports that perception. So my message today is really, yes, affirmations have science behind them. Yes, they absolutely work, but I encourage everybody to take it to another level and develop an affirmation mindset. Like I said, I wrote a book, Prayer Mindset. These really go hand in hand. You have to be thinking the type of life that you want to live. You have to be shaping your thoughts in a way that are going to allow your brain to collect data to get you where you want to be. And, at the end of the day, most of our suffering is in our head. We as humans, we decide if something's good or bad. If you can kind of take a step back from that, and when things happen, kind of have an affirmation as, okay, this isn't necessarily the playbook I was asking for, but this might be unfinished business getting me to where I want to be. And just really changing your perception. So again, my message is your brain is listening to all your thoughts. Your brain is collecting data based on the things that you think about. Quantum physics is at work for you, saying that, when you are doing these thought patterns, quantum physics is saying we've got infinite realities out here. Your act of thought and observation are going to determine which pieces are going to come together for you. We have far more control over our lives than I think most people realize. And it is 100% in your mindset. And if you can develop an affirmations mindset, you'll see changes in your life immediately. And I love it because there's no pill. I'm not selling you anything, although I want everybody to buy my book, Prayer Mindset. But, this is a free tool. It just takes discipline. You have to really be able to catch yourself in a negative thought and say, this isn't the direction. This isn't it. This isn't what I want my mind to be collecting data on. And just, work. I do it every day. I have to literally, when I feel a negative thought creeping in that doesn't serve me, I will do what's called brain spotting, which is another neuroscience hack. And I'll picture a stop sign and I'll say, okay, this isn't the direction I need to be going. This isn't productive. And I will redirect. And I'll say, for me personally, gratitude is an incredible superpower. And I will shift into a gratitude list, and some days I might just be sitting there and might be like, man, I'm grateful this creamer tastes really good in my coffee right now. It doesn't have to always be, a major gratitude moment, but gratitude can absolutely get you out of a hole if you do find yourself in a negative thought pattern, because negative thoughts will wire your brain to look for negative data points. It will happen. So in general, that's kind of the wrap up of the neuroscience behind affirmation. So if anybody, there's science, there's quantum physics, and there's neuroscience. And if anybody's trying to tell you it's a bunch of hooey, I would absolutely disagree. And I would say your thoughts are far more important than anybody gives them credit for. So don't just do those vocal affirmations. Yes, that's wonderful. Absolutely. And writing them down. Great. But really, I charge you today going forward to start having an affirmation mindset and change the way you're thinking on the regular, not just these few moments of the day that you've devoted to your affirmations. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to hear them.
Thank you so much, Jillian, for that wonderful talk that you gave just now. And I like that that was where I was going at in the past couple of speakers that we had. I was asking from a realistic standpoint, right? We're just all humans. We have all of these thoughts. And then later on in the session with Sheldon, I was asking, like, probably there would be a skeptic, that I never would have thought that one of the speakers would say right here that that's me. You know what? That's me. I'm the skeptic.
Yeah, it was me for sure.
That was you for sure. And you're backing it up with facts now. Some skeptics would be like that, right? They are looking for the facts. They are looking for, I think that was you also. As you
100%.
said, I need to make sure that this thing works first before I believe it. I have to see it with my own eyes, or I have to find the facts behind the belief system before I actually believe it. And I think that's a really good way to have a good point to have in this talk. So I cannot think of personally where I'm coming from, a question for you, because I think it's coming from a very, very realistic standpoint. Not only just realistic, but also from admittedly a skeptic, from being a skeptic to transitioning into this belief system. Because what more can we ask for, right? You
Right.
were a skeptic at some point. So
Yeah.
how
Very much.
else can we? That's the most of a convincing that we all need, from a skeptic to a believer. But I guess I would like to highlight the term you mentioned towards the end, brain spotting,
Mhm.
which I think is definitely aligned with what the previous speakers spoke about as well. That we acknowledge that it happens. These negative thoughts, these self
Absolutely. We're
doubts.
all human.
We're all
Absolutely.
human, right?
Yes.
And I guess it's a good way to remind all of us that it happens, but also trying to talk ourselves out of it. It's not a hopeless case. I'm guessing I'm coming from that skeptic, if I was one who would be like, what do you mean? If I just say like, if I'm just gonna be shifting my mindset, what do you mean that's gonna work? No, I'm stressed out. I'm this and that. So what do you mean just saying something like that over and over again would eventually work? And that in and of itself is a good reminder that these things happen. But sometimes with just the tiny changes, just with the tiny thoughts that we tell ourselves and then we repeat it, as you said, our brains would attract, the signals. Like if we're thinking negatively, it would attract these signals and would process the data, as you mentioned, of all the negative stuff. So yeah, we're sharing earlier that one of my statements is I'm fine. Something as simple as that. I'm fine or it's fine. Even if things are like blowing up, I'm having so much stresses with what's happening. I just say it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And then the next thing I know, it's like, you know what? Right. Yeah, it's fine. We're
Yeah.
good. We got through.
Well,
So
and it changes your perception. And, again,
absolutely.
I didn't get into this too much. I was, trying not to go too crazy, but, the thoughts that we have, again, our brain can't really determine whether it's real or fake. So if you're having
Mm,
stressful thoughts and we all have done it. We get in our head, we catastrophize a situation that
yeah.
most likely hasn't even happened yet. But your brain doesn't know that. So your brain secretes all of these stress hormones, mostly cortisol, and it puts your body in this heightened state of alert, like a fight or flight, which, yes, there is a time for high stress. There are situations, but most of the time we are priming our bodies for a high stress situation that's all in our head, that isn't even happening. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
really important because that really puts wear and tear on your body as well. It's really important when you start perseverating over some sort of stress some worry, something you think might happen in the future. You really have to stop and say, wait a minute, what am I doing here? This isn't happening. If it happens, you'll deal with it. But it's a really
Yeah.
good situation. Like you're saying, you're telling yourself, I'm fine. I say everything's moving me towards my greater good because I've learned in my life some of the worst things that have happened to me. And I'm going to say in air quotes, worst, have ultimately been some of the best things that happened to me. But in the moment, as a human, I'm assigning it good or bad, and if I assigned it bad, I'm secreting all those worry
Yeah,
chemicals,
absolutely.
and if we can all just kind of understand that, stressing about things that hasn't happened is a really, really big health concern in this country. We have a lot of anxiety, and that's what anxiety is. It's worrying about things that have not happened yet. So, even through this affirmation mindset, you can really readjust your perception of events. And like you said, something, the world's on fire and you're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. And sometimes we are just convincing ourselves of that. But if you do that, you're going to keep your inner calm. You're going to keep your nervous system relaxed, and your prefrontal cortex is going to be able to actually work to make good decisions. If you're panicking, your prefrontal cortex is not at its best. So, affirmation mindset, for so many reasons, is not only good for your life, your perception of your life, but it's actually good for your health. So if people can really adopt this and really take this to heart and understand, hey, my thoughts mean a lot here,
Mhm.
we would all be actually healthier too. So it's again, I went from skeptic of, what do
Right.
you guys think we're just going to speak some things into existence to, now I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I see why this
Yeah.
happens.
Mhm.
And again, it works in my life. So I don't have a perfect life by any means, but I think I'm one of the happiest people you'll meet. So, and I'd attribute that to my mindset. We can't control what happens to us, but we can 100% control how we respond.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jillian, for taking the time to share all of that. And I think that's the biggest lesson here from skeptic to believer.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's the
yeah.
biggest shift ever. And to see it, to hear it in a very science-backed kind of way, that's definitely going to be helpful because down the line, there are people who are going to be encountering the recording of this session and they'd be like, what do you mean? What power of affirmation? Blah, blah, blah. Then they'd get to this point and be like, you know what? Yeah, there's actually scientific facts backing it
There's
up.
science,
So
there's research.
there's science and research right here. And
Yeah,
probably we're going to turn another skeptic into a believer, just
I
like
hope
you.
so.
So, Jillian, thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you. Have a
today.
wonderful day.
Have a good one as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's really no other way to summarize that, but that's like the biggest shift ever. And I've been asking our speakers earlier, coming from a human perspective, right? Like we're all just people. We're all just, at the end of the day, we have these human natures that are might be our knee-jerk reaction to certain things. And now we hear about science, it's science backed, from a skeptic to a believer. So it's all just shifting to like from reality to, well, from a realistic standpoint to it's actually possible or it's actually happening. And that's not the end just yet because we have one more speaker who will be here with us to share a few more of her insights and for us to learn from. Our next speaker is a Dare to Declare vision board trainer. I like that. Dare to Declare, whose passion is to help individuals find their dream life by guiding them on what's next through a deep dive into vision boards and power words. She advocates that it is more than just pictures on the board. She guides people further into coaching to set goals and achieve success in their lives. Once again, everyone, let us all welcome with all our love and attention, Karen Tabuleri. Hi,
Good
Karen.
morning. How are you?
How are you? I'm doing good and learning a lot, and I'm excited to hear what you have in store for us as well.
This has been amazing. Going last is really kind of cool because I've heard so many amazing speakers and I've learned some really interesting things, but I'm just so grateful to be here today. Good morning, beautiful souls. Before we even begin, let's pause together just for a moment. I would like you to take a deep breath in and let it out slowly and release the stress. And allow your awareness to settle right here, right now, and quietly whisper to yourself, I am here, I am open, I am ready to heal. Because healing doesn't begin when life gets easier. It begins the moment you choose it. Not later, not someday, right here, right now, today. Now, every single person listening today has walked through something that shifted the way they live. And that truly is a form of grief, anything that shifts your life. For some, it was a heartbreak. For others, it was a loss. For many, it's the silent heaviness no one else sees. And in all of that, there's a moment, a quiet, private moment, where you begin to realize you have a choice. Continue struggling or step into healing. Now, that moment is very sacred. It's the threshold between what has been and everything you can still have come possible. Now, my life hasn't always been without storms, trust me. From a childhood of constant change to raising children with challenges that stretched my heart in ways I couldn't have ever imagined. And then tragically losing my daughter when she was only 29. There were moments I didn't know how to breathe, let alone get through the next hour. But I'm not here because I live in pain. I'm here because I chose to focus on healing in my life. One quiet morning, I made a choice and I whispered, I'm healing, not struggling. And my body softened, My breath changed. My outlook shifted. Not because life magically fixed itself, not because I began showing up differently. Now, I want to share something very powerful with you, something that changed my life forever. And many professional motivational people have echoed this for generations. Famous leaders say it, not always like I do, but they all mean the same thing. What you focus on, you receive. And Mike Dooley reminds me daily in an email, and some days I need it more than others. World-class performers live by it. And in the book of Complete Works by Florence Shinn, she teaches this exact principle. That your attention is creative, it's magnetic, and it's shaping your reality moment by moment and word by word. Now, you don't have to believe it fully yet. Just notice how it lands in your body as you hear that. Because our minds are always listening. Your spirit is always responding. And the moment you begin to focus on good instead of the bad, on wealth and not on lack, and absolutely choosing healing over pain, your entire inner world starts to shift, one thought at a time. And the more you practice using affirmations in your life, the more your mind responds around those choices. Our minds are just like sponges, and I'm sure you've heard that said about children. Whatever thoughts, words, or emotions you surround yourself with, your unconscious automatically begins to absorb it. So imagine, just for a moment, what starts to shift when you intentionally pour in affirmations, encouragement, possibility, peace, and clarity. When you keep your attention on fear, your mind's going to create more of it. Not because you want it, but because your mind follows whatever you feed it. So when you shift your attention towards supportive thoughts and affirmations, something changes inside you. Your nervous system softens. Your mind redirects. Your whole body begins to settle. You start moving towards peace without forcing it, naturally, almost automatically. That's the real power of affirmations. They're not cheesy sayings and they're not woo-woo. They're the instructions your mind uses to decide where to go next. And before you even realize it, you begin responding. You respond differently, you're feeling differently, and you're seeing yourself differently, even when you look in the mirror. Because the moment you start choosing what you soak in, your life starts changing from the inside out. When everything felt overwhelming for me, life was just too much for me, I stopped trying to create some flawless version of life. Instead, I started using affirmations for direction, the next step, the next breath, the next choice. Because when you give your mind a clear direction, it begins aligning your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy to move you forward, even before you've noticed that it's happening. Every morning before I get out of bed, I think to myself, it is going to be a good day. And especially on those days that I've been struggling. Because our unconscious mind doesn't judge you. It is simply focusing on what you say and think. And once I shifted what I focus on, my life shifted with me, just as Florence Shinn said it would. And a funny story I have learned from other healers, that the universe is always listening to us, no matter what we're saying. And if you say something that you really didn't mean, or it's not what you want the universe or your brain to focus on, just say, cancel, cancel, cancel. Or you can say, delete, delete, delete. And then say an affirmation starting with, I choose happiness, or I choose, and say whatever it is that's good that you want to focus on instead. That gives the universe something positive to look forward to. Now today, through Vision Board, Power Words, and my new memory healing board, I help others step into focus, clarity, and healing. And I've watched people walk into my workshops carrying years of pain in their eyes and walk out later. Not because the pain vanished, but because they finally focused on healing instead of loss. When you shift your focus, your life shifts to meet it. I see this happening in my group coaching program online. Now, if you'd like, let's do something together. I'd like you to close your eyes for just a moment. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Let your breath slow naturally now. Feel your feet grounding into the floor. Now think of one area where you've been struggling. You don't need details, just the feeling. Now imagine gently placing that struggle down beside you, like setting down a heavy backpack that you've been carrying for a very long time, way too long. Notice how your shoulders soften. Notice your breath as your chest rises and falls. And silently affirm, I am healing, I am believing, and I am receiving. Let that sink into your unconscious mind. Let it ripple through your body as truth. Now shake your shoulders and open your eyes. Healing doesn't mean life stops handing you challenges. My husband is in his second round of chemo, and some days I still ask, why? Why us? But here's what I know now. My focus determines my strength. Every single day, I choose to believe the universe works in my favor. And because I choose that, I see it every day in the little things that happen, always looking for the small ways things are going better and celebrating. Because healing always wins when you choose it more often than you choose to struggle. So, I'm not asking you to be fearless. That is not possible. And I'm not asking you to figure everything out. You can't do that either. And what I'm doing is inviting you to choose. Even if it's not perfect yet, even if it's quietly to yourself. Choose healing over struggling. Choose peace over pressure and anxiety. Choose focus over fear. But most importantly, choose you, because you deserve to live a life built on positivity and purpose. And the moment you choose healing, you become a living reminder that hope still exists. And this feeling will spread to others. And that's what we need more of in this world. And I'd like you to say these affirmations with me if you'd like. Not from your head, but from your heart. I will have a good day. I am grounded. I am growing. I am healing. What I focus on, I receive. And the universe always works in my favor. I'd like you to take one more deep breath in and let it out slowly. And let those truths again root deeply within you. And know this, healing and change are not destinations. It is working on where you focus. Start with positivity and affirmations that enhance your life, not focusing on negativity or fear-based thoughts. And trust me, it's truly a daily decision. And today, you've already chosen it. Daily affirmations will give you the strength to focus on what you want, and the universe is always listening and looking for what it is you are focusing on. And it's going to be aligning it in your life. And as Tut.com quotes, thoughts become things. Choose the good ones. Thank you, Global Speakers Talk, for allowing me to share my love of affirmations and how they have changed my life forever. And if you'd like to reach out and learn more, or just to chat, follow me on peacockmemories.ca. Thank you so much for being here today, and have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Karen, for that wonderful reminder, which is honestly like it's also a culmination of everything that we've been talking about throughout the session. So that has been absolutely blissful. So thank you so much for that. And I wanted to focus on this thing that you mentioned about um kind of like the universe sees or listens to what you focus on. If something to that effect. And I do believe that as you mentioned earlier, you're leaving us with this one of the statements like, I will have a good day. It's like a mindful practice that we are going to be having a good day. And it's a mindful practice, basically. And I guess my question is that for you, how do we best build such habits? Like, I know there are so many tips online, like, practice something for 21 days and that builds a habit, all of those like common stuff that we see in the internet. So I was wondering, for you personally, how do you think is like the best way to build a habit?
I truly believe that 21 days is not something you want to focus on. You want to focus on changing your life every single day. Getting to that destination that you choose to get to is not something you can just do for 21 days. It is a lifelong thing. It's like breathing. It's a choice you make to live. I found that out the hard way when I went through all my struggles, and I had no idea who I was and what I wanted to do. And I had to make those changes in my life to be the better me that I wanted to be. And it is a daily choice of waking up, even when you're feeling lousy and you don't think like things are going to go right. It's just believing and be open to receiving whatever the universe is going to give you, and always be grateful. And again, waking up saying, and I know a couple of the other people have said, waking up and saying, smiling, or saying, I'm going to have a great day. Today's going to be an excellent day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And sometimes we just need a bit of a reminder, right? Like we have all of these tips online. Like the most common one really I have in mind is the whole 21 days builds a habit. But sometimes it's not enough, or sometimes we
Yeah.
kind of like pressure ourselves, Sometimes we have this feeling like, no, I have to reach 21 days. And suddenly it feels like a chore, right? It feels like it's very much against our will to do it. But when we become mindful on a day-to-day basis, like, let's take it one day at a time. Today, telling myself this. Tomorrow, I'll tell myself this. And the next thing you know, you've been saying it to yourself for like 5 years, 10 years, and all of that.
A
So, yeah,
great thing
and sometimes,
to remember is how many years it took you to get to here. How many years is it going to take you to constantly be reminding yourself and change your brain, right? Because of that neuroscience that we listened to just with Julian, it's going to take a while for that brain to change. So keep at it. You can do it. It's amazing when you finally figure some of it out.
amazing. And thank you so much, Karen, for your time. And that, once
Thank
again,
you.
I've been saying it for the past speakers also. The reminder, I think there's a best way to summarize this whole talk is that we are reminded of what we are actually capable of. Like
Yes.
Jillian was saying, that thoughts are power. Like we fail to realize how much power it holds. And sometimes we just really, really need to be reminded. So once again, thank you
Yes.
so much, Karen.
Thank you.
So I'd also like to invite the rest of our speakers to join us and see if we have questions from our audience. So do we have any questions from our audience? This is our time to let our speakers know, or like ask our speakers any of your burning curiosities. I think this is a perfect time to get to do something like that. Do we have some? Okay, I like this one. A question came in just now. Let me go show it up. How to overcome doubts. I think we've asked that also earlier, but I think to hear it in one go from all of our speakers. I like this. I like this question. How to overcome doubts. Oh, there's an extension of the question. Doubts on manifestation. That's really interesting. That's interesting. How do you overcome doubts on manifestation?
I think, well, shall I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, doubts on manifestation. Doubts you create in your mind, okay? So if I were you, before you even have the doubt, don't start it. As soon as it's like, just stop in mid-sentence and change it to I can, I am, and I will. Don't even start it. Once you start the flow of doubts, you got into the flow of the thoughts and the vibration and all that. So before, how do you do it? Just don't start it. As soon as you feel that this thought is coming in, next thought, until you get a better thought, meaning that until you get a positive thought, I am, I can, and I will. That's what I would do.
Thank you, Yuen, for that. Anyone else would like to share?
I can speak to that. So I would say what I have learned for myself is when I have doubt creeping in, I kind of have to let it go because the doubt itself is going to block you. So if you, and I've coached a lot of people on this. You have two roads. You have the way it could go the way you want it to go and the way it won't let you go. And you have to be okay with either outcome, even though you don't like the one outcome, but you have to be okay with it. And once you've kind of let that go and you're okay with it, you're not holding on to it, it has to happen this way, then you just kind of, let's see how this is going to happen or not happen, because you might be getting in the way. There might be something else you have to learn before what you want is going to happen. So it might be seeming like you're going the wrong way, but maybe you have to do that little detour before it circles you back to where you want to go.
Right.
Absolutely.
Very good. I would also add, there's absolutely, for all the listeners out there, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doubting. And doubting could just be a sign that you're not aligning or that you're in separation. So again, it's just going to help you go back to, well, what was my initial impulse? There's nothing wrong with doubting, but we make a decision and we move from one decision to the next. But move. Don't let doubt, bring you into a state of contraction and fear and not to move.
Let me just before we proceed, there's a follow-up from the same person. They said sometimes before letting go, enough negative emotions creep in and I spiral.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I would add on then, if the negative emotions are there, remember that can be just a 90-second wave. And so it's like, these negative emotions passing through, because the moment you hold on to it, that's where you're really going to create a grip on that. And you do want to continue letting it go. And sometimes I will do that in a very lighthearted way of, look at me being human right now. Look at me
Yes.
thinking of the doubt. Look at me feeling the fear or worry or anxiety. And it's like, oh, okay, well, hello, feelings. And you can keep passing through and
I like that.
coming back to the desire. And it's like, the universe is always working for me, in the very best way for me and for everyone around me. And I may not know the timing, but I trust the timing. And I love myself and know that I am worthy of this, and continue to do and say those things that will raise the vibration. Because if we sit in that holding of that doubt, like, oh, I don't think this is really working out for me. Why do we want to think that? How does that thought serve us? That will create that lower vibration feeling. It's like, again, it's okay to acknowledge it. It's like, oh yeah, there's the doubt. And then just stay curious and have fun with it. It could be a quick curiosity of, is there something more that I need to learn? Or is there something different that I need to be aligned with? Or is this just a passing through? Okay, hello and goodbye, and continue on with your day.
I think too, we go through phases, thought phases, feeling phases, and to remind yourself that this isn't permanent. It can be a phase, and I can let it be a phase, and I can let it be as fast or long as I want it to. We'll have the choice of that. Everything is a choice.
Yes, I just want to add one thing that I feel that when doubts or anxiety or whatever just creeps up on me, I say, oh, I distance myself from all these negative, low emotional thoughts. I just put it, say, oh, this is here. Oh, this is here. It's like a visitor. They're just visiting. It's fleeting. So as long as you don't actually go into their story, you're safe, because you don't get gripped into it. It's when you sort of keep it going, keep the thread of the story, then you get into the trap of the story. But I just say, oh, anxiety is here. Oh, doubt is here. Oh, whatever. I'm feeling the anxiousness is here. Okay, all right. So this is it. This is what I'm feeling. That's all right. Let it pass. It is passed easily. But just don't, just like clouds in the sky, let it flow through you. Because we all have doubts. We all have anxiousness. We all have anxiety. We're humans. We are human beings.
I'd like to add to it as well that, as I said before, when something comes up in your mind, I say cancel. That's not what I want to live with. And excuse me, I choose to put in a different thing. But there's also another way to look at it. Every story that plays in our head is like watching a TV show, and your TV screen is playing. And I just decide I'm flipping the channel. I don't want that TV show playing. And I put on a different good choice that you want in your life and play that TV show instead.
Love it. Just love
Fair.
it. Switching engine, switching channel. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I'm
It's
going to
good
try that right away.
It's good to distract yourself too.
Yes.
The spiraling thing, you need a pattern interrupt situation. So just put yourself, go for a ride in your car, go shopping, go call a friend, do something different to get your mind off of what you were spiraling on.
You know what? If I may add to the whole discussion as well. So I'm Filipino. There's, the struggles that there, like any struggles that we face, right? We call it in our language in Filipino, it's pinagdadaanan. So that's like the word, it's pinagdadaanan. A part of that word is daan. So pinagdadaanan, and there's daan. And coincidentally, daan means road or just passage or way. So we kind of like say pinagdadaanan. So there's daan also. So there's like, it just passes through. Like, just let it pass through. It's like such a play of words, but when you think about it, that's such an interesting, like, I don't know what the etymology is behind that, but it works. It all works out. Like, just think of it like it's a car, it's a ride, it's just gonna pass through. Oh, hey, my emotions are here. I feel overwhelmed. I feel stressed out, but hey, I like what Lee said earlier about, oh, I'm being human. That's cool.
Yes.
Right? That's cool. I'm being human today. So with that in mind, okay, what's next? There's always gonna be like, what's the next step? So that said, um Ridhima Molhor sorry, I might be not able to say your name, but thank you so much, all of you, and I am glad. I think we gave them the right clarity. We started off with them saying that sometimes if we're letting go, enough negative emotions creep in and I spiral. Then later on, they said everything sounds good. Thank you so much to all of you, and I'm glad breaking the loop so we are all learning from this experience and this whole talk. There is another follow-up question. Ridhi, okay? Thank you, Ridhi. Thank you for letting me know of your name. So Ridhi says again, another question, is your intuition your higher self letting you know the best path ahead? That is a beautifully phrased question.
Yes, I definitely agree that a couple years ago I had a conference called Masters of Intuition, and it definitely is, you know, it's like your 30-foot view of what's going on in your life. You know, like let's say you're going around a mountain, okay, and your life is going around a mountain. You can't see all the way around the mountain when you're down on the ground.
Mhm.
But your intuition is kind of that 30-foot view from the top of the mountain, can say, hey, you know, you've got this obstacle coming up down the road, or you need to make a right, or you need to make a left, because on the ground you have no clue. So the better you can tap into your intuition, the better you're going to navigate you know, some of the blocks in your life, or you know, navigate some situations that are tough.
I also want to add that I think intuition is like what's been said just now, that you know, you really actually going over the mountaintop. You're at the mountaintop, you know, the higher point, and you're looking over everything with a much bigger picture. You say, okay, so this is a setback and that is a setback. But then you say to yourself, what have I achieved? You know, you just go up and up and up and up, and then you go down a little bit and you go up again. And it is not a linear. Success is not a linear. It's actually quite sort of like zigzag, really. And you just intuition, it just helps you to see the big picture and to help you to see that all the goods that you have achieved, instead of focusing on all the negative little setbacks that we all have. Who doesn't have it? You know, from A to B, there's so many zigzags. It's not a straight line. So intuition, I always tap into my intuition, and I always breathe first. I take breaths. I put my hands on my heart. I want to feel. I want to feel that if this is coming from my heart, that's really my intuition guiding me. If I don't feel that, I don't make that decisions. I want to feel it with my heart, because your heart always guides you to the truth, I think. Yeah.
Beautiful.
My experience of intuition is somewhat different. I cannot explain it. There is no overview. No, oh, you need to take a left here or take a right
Right.
here. I can't explain it. It's something that is not of this world, actually, of this three-dimensional reality. However, the more I can let go of my thoughts, actually, this inner chatter, and constantly trying to control my life and my environment, the more I can start trusting intuition, and it'll come in the moments of when I least expect it. And when people say, well, how did you know? You know, I've literally saved hundreds of lives with proof. If I hadn't shouted at the right time, the bus wouldn't have slammed on his brakes and we would have careened off the road. And if they ask me, well, how did you know? I said, well, I didn't. But, I know it's all about energy, and the energy of that impact that is coming to that crossroad where we were heading toward. I feel that in my body, and just the instinct of screaming it out. I learned to trust that. So,
Beautiful.
it is definitely my inner guide, but I can't say I have this overall view, but
Mm,
I
right.
I can trust, I can really trust this inner knowing in the moments when I need it.
Mhm. Definitely. And I think the intuition also, in answer to the question, is your intuition your higher self letting you know the best path ahead? The simple answer is yes. And this is also where I do the work with the getting intimate with your future successful self, because it's all in one, it's all interconnected. And so your future successful self, because if you have that dream that's been put into your heart, your future successful self has already done all of that. And sometimes I like to play the game of, well, she's already done it. What is she thinking or remembering about today? Oh, remember when she went on the third annual International Live Conference? Like, what did she share? What was she thinking? What did she feel? What did she accomplish? And so before I would step on the stage, it's like, oh, it was all of these things. This is what I shared. And then that's what I bring into today. And so, or if there's moments of doubt, I could still play that game. Like, well, what did she think about when she was doubting herself today, and what did she choose to do about it? And I line myself up with that, and it's a whole combination of sensing that intuition, because that's her communicating to me, and it all comes from that higher self. So there's different ways of looking at it, right? We can take that 30-foot view. We can just say, I'm going to trust that knowing that it will come in its own perfect timing, or we can play a game with that future successful self and use those different perspectives to serve us.
Can I just quickly add something? Because you're talking about timing, divine timing. I love it when we're talking about affirmations. An affirmation that I always say, I heard some of you mention something in that form or other. I always say, I'm always in the right place, in the right time, involved in the right activity. That's my daily meditation. I'm always in the
I
right
like
place,
that. Yeah.
involved in
Yes,
the right
very good.
activity.
Well,
I
yeah.
love it. Really nice. Right time. I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. Love it. Just love it.
With the right people.
With the
the
right
right people.
people.
I always say something like, I call it align opportunities, align connections, and align actions. That's my line. I think we all have something that's like personal growth, obviously, but within ourselves that works for us. And I just have a few lines that I repeat every day, but like very often during the day, like I can just walking down the street, I can be repeating you, that's no problem. Nobody's hearing it. But yeah, I think that those really work. I think that is also the basis of what the topic of today, the power of affirmation as well. We naturally repeat this power of the affirmation that works for us, and it is amazing. Yeah, right place, right time, and right actions. Amazing. Love it.
I think also that a lot of people are always thinking about the future, like their thoughts are in the future all the time, or their thoughts are in the past instead of right now. I mean, if you have a camera, you can only take a picture of right now. Right now.
Yep.
Right now. You can't take a picture of the future. You can look
Yeah,
at
it's
pictures in the
right.
past, but you're only living right now. And
It's
so
like
you have to
it's like
learn.
Eckhart Tolle, isn't it? The power of now. I keep on
Oh,
dipping
yeah.
into that book
Beautiful.
over and over
Yes.
and over again. I said, listen, Yuen, don't worry. The power is right now. But we are human. So we human beings, sometimes I ask myself, how are you doing? And I feel that I'm kind of like falling off the chair. I said, oh, don't worry. It's okay. This moment, there's no tiger chasing you. It's okay. But, it's very true because life is not easy, and we're living in a very complex, kind of complicated
I
times.
changed that thought.
So, yeah.
Yes. Cancel,
I
cancel,
forgive
cancel.
myself for thinking
That's okay, I love
that
it.
life is not easy, that life is difficult. Life was meant to be easy.
Yes.
Yes, it's meant to be easy, but it's
We
not
were meant
always
to
easy.
experience bliss.
It's not
Yes,
always easy.
absolutely.
I keep on saying that, all this technology that we get on, even this live stream, I keep on saying to myself, is anybody helping you? No, got to do it yourself. Is anybody helping me? No, you got to do it myself. But in the end, I actually get it done. I get my camera together, my mic together, I get my background together, everything's working. I get everything working basically. So in the end, we are much more capable than we believe ourselves to be. And all these little kind of like challenges that we have, it's just little things that so we can grow. And I feel that we're growing.
Absolutely.
And it's being here today with these amazing people, all you guys. I've learned so much. I listened to so many versions of the power of affirmation.
Each one of us had our own take on it, right?
I feel very blessed, really, really blessed. Deep gratitude to all of you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think speaking of everything that we've spoken about in this past couple of hours, I think there is one thing that is a good way to kind of like wrap it up. And we are closing the session with this last question we have here. And I'll just bump it up right now. So manifestation works in different ways for each individual. Does faith affect it?
Oh, I want to answer this question because I did the Harrison Ford bridge, isn't that? That he had to step into thin air before the bridge appears on the Indiana Jones movie. That's why my signature talk. Faith, to be quite honest, is the kind of like the bedrock of our life. It's the one thing that I know that I can depend on. Faith, having faith, and actually believing that things will work out, not even because they're not in the 3D world that we can see. Faith is tremendous. You have to have a faith to step into thin air before the bridge appears.
Sure. That was beautiful, Yuen.
Thank you. I got so emotional as well myself. Oh, you. I really do. I really get into it. This is much better than straight talk because in an interview like this, it's you begin to talk and it's not you talking, it's the higher self flowing through
absolutely.
you.
For real. Yeah.
Absolutely for real. It's much nicer. I like it much better.
Would anyone else be adding to this question or this statement?
Yeah, faith to me would be always surrendering to a higher intelligence. I just call it God, spirit, whatever you would like to, the unified field. We're all connected. We're all moving in the same direction. We're all evolving. And there is a higher intention at play. And many of you mentioned that everything is working for my greater good. And I also add, and for everybody else in that experience.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. Without this inner guidance, I would just be running amok, really.
I like the saying. I have it on my I have a board behind my desk, and it says, "Ask and allow, and don't ask how."
Right.
And I have one behind me as well in my office. Ask and it is given. It's from Abraham Hicks. Ask and it is given. And I keep on looking at it. But sometimes, we need people to remind us of this. And we need to look at look at the letter saying, and we need to say out loud to ourselves as well, repeating it to ourselves, because we are human. We forget. We get, overwhelmed by, anxiousness or whatever.
But the allowing is a very, very important part.
Yeah. I love it.
Allowing,
yes.
Absolutely.
I love it. I really do. Allowing and receiving. I love it. But not in every moment of our daily life, we're in that space. So sometimes we're in a different space, not such a high vibration space. And then I talk to a friend, or I read something on the internet, and I reread my notes on, Louise Hay, Abraham Hicks, or Eckhart Tolle, and I think to myself, listen, it's all okay. I keep on reminding myself, it's all working out, it's all working out. And it's faith at work, basically. It's faith. It's giving yourself a boost of faith, I think.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And as
Beautiful.
I truly believe in Dare to Declare, we teach people how to ask, believe, and be open to receive. But remember, you aren't always going to receive everything exactly how you ask for it. There may be steps in that process. So you have to be patient sometimes. And that's just
when, you
life.
don't know
We have
how.
to sometimes wait. And we don't know how. Absolutely.
We don't
And
need
if
to
you ever
know
want
the
to
how either.
ever
We
want to
don't need to know
understand
the
that,
how.
yeah, and understand how the universe and what we talk about, whether you ask for God or whoever you believe in, Florence Shin really explains it, how over centuries it has been that the way people speak and what we say is what has come of their lives. And when you read some of the stories and how people have spoke all of the not so nice things into their life, and then you realize the power of your words, it's just amazing that we can truly change things.
I love it.
Absolutely.
We can be talking here for days on end, actually.
And honestly, like, it's what we needed to hear right now. Earlier we mentioned that we are at the right place at the right time, and sometimes we just need this moment. And I've been saying earlier that these things are pretty much given. Technically speaking, there are very common thoughts, right? They are thoughts at the back of our heads more often than not, probably silent 99% of the time. But sometimes we just need that bit of a nudge, right? We just need that bit of a push. We just need to hear it again from someone else and be like, you know what? Yeah, that's right. And I am reminded I can do this again. And sometimes that's all we need, that right kick, that right push, that right spark to get us back going again and to remember that we are indeed capable. So I guess that's definitely it. For the past few hours, it's been a beautiful reminder. We've all learned so much, not only from our audience who were also asking really, really relevant questions, but also from one another. I've been taking down notes both on my PC and on my journal, and I've seen like everyone, you guys were also like learning from one another as well, which is such a beautiful, beautiful experience. So, with that said, thank you. Thank you very much to each of our extraordinary speakers for sharing your wisdom, your stories, and your hearts and vulnerability today. And I thank you, beautiful souls, those who watched us from the start till now, who dropped by to just give their thoughts or to just listen in for a few minutes, and for the future people who will be checking out this session as well. Thank you for showing up with open minds and open hearts. Throughout this session, we explored the transformative power of affirmations, how words can heal, guide, empower, and even rewire the deepest parts of who we are. We even have science-backed proof earlier from Jillian, which is really interesting. Every message today reminds us of this truth, right? That when we speak with intention, we shape our reality. Our voices, our thoughts, our inner dialogues, they're all tools of creation. And sometimes we just really need to use them. It's right there. We have it already. So it's just up to us on how we will use it. And before we close, I invite everyone to carry this piece of message as we move forward with our days today. I choose thoughts that support my growth. I speak words that strengthen my spirit. I affirm the life I am ready to create.
Oh,
So
thank
let
you.
those words settle into
I
your
hope.
heart.
Bye-bye. Thank
Let
you.
them become your
Thank you.
companions as you move through the rest of your day. And thank you once again for being here, for being part of the Global Speakers Talk family, and for contributing to this global wave of inspiration and empowerment. Until our next session, once again, this has been Pao, your host, and our speakers as well. Stay aligned, stay affirmed, and stay beautifully you. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
to
you.
everyone, and thank you to our speakers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Together we are Global Speakers Talk.